Christmas bells, not my keys.
Jingle bells! Jingle bells!
Jingle all the way.
Jingle all the way.
Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and the kid from Phantom Menace. Hey.
Jake Lloyd in it?
Yeah.
Huh. I haven't seen that since I was like 7.
It's also got Cindy.
Kind of scared me.
It scared you?
Arnold Schwarzenegger just scared me as a kid. I'm like, he's gonna die. I was always afraid of people that were super huge because I thought they were just gonna have a heart attack.
Huh.
I'm like, you're working yourself out too much.
I mean,
my dad was super huge too, though. He's like, well, I'm like, Dad, you're gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever had that thought process as a kid. I was not afraid of buff people, or I didn't fear for them. But, yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to Screen Weens, the only podcast.
Yeah, the only one.
The only podcast. We were gonna record a couple days ago, but Thomas got very sick.
Yeah, I threw up all over my friend Jordan's car. It was pretty awesome. And then he paid me back by not giving me my wallet when I lost it in his car. And so I had to cancel my debit card because I thought I just dropped it somewhere. And then he messages me like in the dead of night last night. Yeah, I don't know how this happened, but I found your wallet. I'm like, God damn it, you're lucky I don't have funds, or else I would hire a hitman to kill you. Not
kill
really.
you.
I'm not that rich.
Just a budget hitman. $20.
Yeah, I'll do what they did in fucking what's that? It's got Jason Bateman, Charlie Day, and
Horrible Bosses.
Horrible Bosses. I'll just hire a wet man to pee on them.
Genius. Or in Adventure Time. When the Ice King hires a hitman to hit someone. Because he thinks he's just gonna, like, hit them. And he's like, what do you mean you're gonna kill them? He's like,
isn't it like a big, like, mummy kind of?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I remember that.
I remember when that happened, I was just like, that's a funny joke! Oh, hit! Yeah, so Thomas got really sick, and then I got really sick, and then I had to drive my roommate to the airport, and then I had to sell everything he owns. That's what I was doing yesterday. It's all gone. I sold it all
off. I can tell that you're joking.
Nope, it's gone. He's gonna get back, he's gonna be like, where is everything? I'll be like, you got robbed! Just you!
Yeah, they came in through your window, and then I entered your room, and they just jumped out with all your stuff.
All your stuff. They had it all tied to
a big
cord. They dragged the entire room full of stuff out.
I just picture like what's like that cliche like old homeless person like gathering their stuff in like a bandana and like wrapping it on a stick.
I usually know this because that's a fun name.
Yeah, I'm like blanking on the term, but I just picture like a giant one of those as someone's like turns around and is like, huh? And jumps out the window. Yeah, what were those called?
God damn it, now I'm gonna need to
like
a bindle.
Yes, bindle.
Bindle. Yeah, so I didn't actually sell off his stuff, but I got sick, and then I was dying, and I was recovering mostly yesterday. And I'm mostly better. I'm tired. I stayed up until like 4:30.
Oh, nice.
Just because I don't know. I watched 101 Dalmatians for the first time.
The live action or the animation?
The animation.
I think I've seen like the beginning of the animation.
I really like the beginning of that movie. And then after like 35 minutes, I think it just becomes pretty shit. I'm like, this is disappointing because I like a lot of the beginning characters and like the dogs like making them fall in love and the song Cruella, you know. And then it gets really boring, and the only thing that's good is the frame where Cruella de Vil looks like she's Satan. She just looks really, really scary.
I'm more familiar with the live action version.
I realized that I had the live action version. I realized I had the live action version as a kid, but then I realized, no, I had the sequel to the live action version as a kid.
All I remember, because I watched it when I was really young, I just remember there's a scene.
That's a good still.
That is a good still. I remember a scene where it's two robbers and they're trying to rob one of the Dalmatians. And they're Cruella de Vil's little lackey guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're out in an alley or something. I don't fucking remember.
There's some really funny and clever parts at the beginning too. When the lackeys first show up to steal the puppies. They're oh, we gotta go, and they drive they turn on this car that's duck, 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 and they drive 5 feet. Then turn it off. And right before they were watching TV, all the puppies, they're watching a show about a cool dog that's a hero, and they're all dogs do.
Yeah.
And then a commercial comes on where this guy's talking about puppy food, and the owner comes over and turns off the TV. And as it turns off, old TVs where it sucks into the beginning. The guy who's on the television, he puts up his hands he knows, and he gets sucked in. I'm that's cool.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It's a neat little touch.
There were a lot of fun little touches, and then the rest was just there was some neat animation, but a lot of it was boring. There's a big journey sequence where they're we gotta go across the winter wasteland, and we're freezing to death, and then all the puppies are sucking on cow udders. And it was just what the fuck is the point of all this? And then it just felt too long, even though it was an hour and 10 minutes. Oh. Just because this giant sequence is just fucking boring.
Huh. Yeah, no, I was never super familiar with the Dalmatian movies. I remember they did a sequel to the animated one.
Yeah.
Where it was
because the first one is called 101 Dalmatians Written Out, and then the sequel is called 101 Dalmatians, the number. And that really pisses me off.
Huh.
Because I'm if you're going to write it out, first of all, it's a terrible idea. But stick to it, bitch!
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, no, I never watched. I was never super into that.
Yeah, but I have the live action sequel.
Ooh.
And I was so fucking confused as a kid. I'm what's going on?
Did they ever make 102 Dalmatians?
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Oh, the live-action sequel?
Yeah, because it was a sequel to the live-action movie.
I think that might have been the one I saw when I was a kid.
Nobody's seen the original, apparently.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm gonna blow my nose.
I didn't document my childhood movies on Letterboxd, unfortunately. I should have, but I don't think it existed back then.
For whatever reason, I have a bad memory for when I was a kid, except the movies I watched. I can at least remember most of them and remember what I thought of them. So I rated them how I thought they were, which is fine because I like that, because then if I go back to them, I'd be oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
But I like knowing what I originally gave it. So some people have said why the fuck did you give this an 8? And I'm I don't know, I was 8 when I watched it. But also, I gave all the Star Wars movies 10, so what the fuck are you asking me my opinion about?
Yeah, it's what the fuck? Yeah, when I made my Letterboxd, with the exception of some movies that I'm yeah, I can generally remember the tone and consistency of this movie and how I would probably rate it. But for the most part, I tried to rewatch things if I was gonna
I feel it.
Log them. That way, I didn't put any false opinions out there.
It was mostly just because I was just sitting at the theater when I made my Letterboxd, and it was really slow for the next 3 days. So I just sat there rating every movie I could remember. And I'm just oh, I have 1,500 or 1,200 or whatever now.
Oh, jeez.
And now I'm at 2,000.
I never...
And I have 1,000 reviews now.
Nice. I never keep up with my letterbox.
I know. I'll look at it and I'm like, what do you mean the last thing for the podcast you watched was Ghostmates? Not really, but...
yeah, I need to go through...
You can go to mine if you want. You can go to my tags and touch screen Weens and see all the movies you didn't log.
Do you have... I guess I could probably remember most of my ratings for them.
Yeah, or you can just scroll to the end of each video section.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. I just haven't sat down and done it yet.
Oh, speaking of Star Wars, I know I brought it up. I watched, my friend Melody, who was watching some of the Star Wars movies, I think she watched 1, 3, and 7. She was kind of jumping around.
Okay.
And she asked if she should watch the Clone Wars if she didn't like the art style. And I said, maybe just let me pick an arc and you should watch it. And if you like it, then watch the rest. If not, no biggie. But I rewatched, it's called the Battle of Umbara arc, or it's all set on this planet Umbara. And it's one of my favorite arcs, and it's pretty clone-centric, and I like a lot of the clone-centric episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. I rewatched it, I still really fucking like it. And I'm like, fuck, why didn't they release one of these in theaters?
Yeah. I think we talked about this I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but I think we talked about it at least a little candidly last week about how, the first movie... or I guess the only...
Well, because it wasn't even ever, when it was made, it wasn't planned to be a movie. It was planned just to be the first 3 episodes.
And
or 4 or something.
It's kind of... I guess it is an okay starting point, because you meet,
Ahsoka.
I was going to call her Ahura. I've been watching both Star Trek and, Star Wars, but, yeah, you meet Ahsoka, so I guess that's kind of a good natural starting point for a movie, I guess. But yeah, it just feels pretty disjointed, a couple episodes just kind of stuck together. And
yeah, exactly.
I remember seeing it in theaters when I was a kid, and I was like, well, that didn't really hook me at all.
Yeah, I remember liking it as a kid, but every other Star Wars movie I'd seen, I'd be like, wow! That one I was like, that was pretty good! And that's how you could tell. Wow, I guess I
The only thing I, that really stuck with me is I remembered, Baby Jabba, and they're just yeah, stinky, the whole fucking movie, and it's just yeah.
Rada the Hutt. That was his name.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like a ball.
He did. The Hutts are not well adapted into that art style.
Yeah? My friend was like, everybody's going on about Baby Yoda. What about Baby Jabba? And I'm like, maybe if the art style fit the character more. Yeah. And it wasn't released 12 years ago.
That, Baby Yoda's got that kind of Mogwai cuteness to him, where it's oh, he's cute. He's got
Baby Yoda's also a puppet. So, and puppets are cute.
And then, a Baby Jabba would just be this gross, little baby space
Imagine how stinky, he'd be very stinky and extremely slimy.
Yeah, and he'd be oh.
I do think his design is kind of cute. A little, he's literally a little ball. That's cute. But in person, it'd be hard to hold them or interact with them, and he'd turn into a warlord.
Yeah. Do they ever cover what happens to Stinky in the Star Wars canon?
I don't think... I like to just imagine he died.
Yeah, it's just one of the other members of the Jabba family puts a hit out on its head. I'm not gonna let that one rise to power.
Yeah. Stinky... Rada the Hutt. Let's see.
Oh, man.
Yes, nicknamed Pedunky Muffkin by his father. Thanks, Jabba. I don't think he's just in the Clone Wars.
Probably, maybe better that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I also hate it when, like, that happens. I'm just like, I want to know more.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just because he's connected to, like, a pretty significant person.
Do they explore, like, a lot of the other Hutts? Or just,
They did in Legends. There was a lot of Hutt stuff. There was a Hutt Jedi.
Oh. That, I feel like they wouldn't be very agile.
Yeah, it was an awful storyline. I never read it, but I've read, like, the synopsis of it. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude?
Huh.
I think he went crazy and then started eating people.
Oh, that's not very Jedi.
Beldorion.
The Beldalorian?
Beldorion was a Hutt Jedi Knight serving the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic roughly 400 years before the founding of the Empire. After being sent to Nom Chorius, he fell to the dark side and established himself as the ruler of the planet. And then
he ate all the younglings.
I mean, probably Leia killed him in a lightsaber duel. Because Leia became a Jedi in Legend.
So this Hutt was alive 400 years before the Empire.
Hutts live a long time.
Okay.
I believe so. But also you have to remember that Force-sensitive people live for a very, longer as well.
Okay.
Like Mace Windu. I don't know if it's canon anymore, but for a long time he was 150 years old.
Yeah, I hope they make it canon that he survived Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, I
want more Mace Windu.
Yeah, I would. I remember when episode 7 was coming out, people were like, Mace Windu's gonna be in it. I'm like, first of all, that's fucking stupid. I'm fine with Mace Windu being alive, but I'm not fine with him being like, yes, I was hidden for 48 years.
Yeah, no, they need to
cool, make it be right after
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
just do a series.
Do a comic series or something.
Or they could give him a TV series now on Disney Plus.
He could lose his memory. There you go. You could have Samuel L. Jackson still play him. He could lose his connection to the Force. It's cut off, right? When he, almost dies.
Yeah.
And because he loses his connection, he, rapidly ages. This is good.
Why do you want him to rapidly age?
Well, just so he can still play him. Because it's been, because if it was right after Revenge of the Sith, I'm like, why does he look, almost 20 years older?
Revenge of the Sith isn't 20 years old.
I mean,
came out.
It's 15.
So, have it take place 15 years after Revenge of the Sith.
But that's right before A New Hope.
Yeah, I'd say that's fine.
And he's like, I was the one that built the desk.
I mean, you don't need to give him
They'd have to. I know they would, though. They'd be like, he's connected to us all. And that's the worst part, is I'm like, I don't want him to be connected to anything. I'm fine with him coming back. I'm fine with characters because the way he died, it would hurt, but I feel like a Jedi could pretty easily survive.
I know, and I don't know if it's canon currently, but at some point in Legends, Mace Windu did survive. So.
And yeah, that's because in some point in Legend, every character survived.
Yeah, that's
Boba Fett, Mace Windu, Salacious P. Crumb, probably.
Yeah. Any Star Wars character who has died, they're alive.
No, 4 people like this character. Bring them back. Make more money.
Hurry up, we can sell 4 books.
That's why, I like the new canon, because at least it's more cohesive.
Yeah, it's a fresh start.
That's the biggest problem I have with people that are against the Disney Star Wars stuff, because I'm like, you can be against it, but stop saying that the EU was amazing. I'm like, you're mad that Leia used the Force in The Last Jedi, but you were fine that she was just an entire Jedi which is fine. She could be a Jedi. It makes sense that she would also be Force sensitive. But her using the most, one of the simplest Force moves in the vacuum of space is not...
The only argument I could see that, like, someone might have the slightest bit of credibility with that is, and I think it's easily dismissible, is the fact that, like, they didn't really, like, build up to it enough. But, I mean, there's a huge duration of time in between the movies.
30 years.
Where we don't see, like, her life.
And I'm like, what do you want, a flashback where she's, like, training with Luke?
And she's clearly, like, displayed that she has access to the Force in the original trilogy.
Exactly. Like, it shows you. It's like... 30 years, I'm like, yeah, I would assume she did something with this.
Yeah, especially being
like, no, I'm blocking it off.
Especially being part of the rebellion and shit like that. It's like, oof. I'm sure she had to fucking...
Especially if her son becomes, like, a Jedi, I would be like, yeah, I want to be more in tune with my own powers.
Yeah, you gotta teach... Like, hey, Luke, give me some pointers, that way I can, like, put my son down if he's being an asshole or something.
So you watch some Star Trek, finish the original series.
Yep.
Watched 4 movies.
I watched 4.
You want to give your quick ratings of all of them?
Yeah, I gave the motion picture an 8.
Oh, wow, you really did like it.
Yeah, like I said, I like the plot, I like the characterization.
Yeah, especially that one guy, Stephen Miller.
Yeah, the character Decker is brilliant and totally not a child molester in real life. He totally is. But the Decker character is fine. The actor who plays him, bad guy. But yeah, my only major problem with it, I was saying this to London before we started, is that there are some beautiful shots in space that go on for way too fucking long. Like, you could cut probably, like, 40 minutes to half an hour out of this movie out of just, like, scenery shots.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe not that much, but there's, like, a decent chunk of the film that is just, like, these really awesome practical effects, but still, it's just like, oh my god.
Like, can you put this on, like, 2 times speed, please?
Yeah. So, I gave that one an 8. I gave Wrath of Khan a 7.
Wow, so you like it more than Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of these.
I'm
just going off of what I know.
I really like Wrath of Khan. My main issue with it comes mainly in, like, that last little chunk. Alright, spoiler alert for Wrath of Khan. This movie that has a very iconic Star Trek scene in it, because I'm sure you're aware that.
God! That one?
No, not that one.
Okay.
That Spock dies at the end of Wrath of Khan.
I would assume, because the third one's called The Search for Spock.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember watching, like, the Cinemassacre, like, reviews or, like, his
okay,
so, I know the main
basic
plot
third
ones,
one, yeah. Because they kill him off, he didn't really have much of an arc in the movie. It's more of, like, Kirk's story
so just kind of
throughout the narrative. And kind of like his arc throughout the movie was, I'm loyal to you, Kirk. And then at the end, he, like, sacrifices so they can, like, warp out before the Genesis explodes on Khan's ship and takes them all out. And I would like this scene if, they had the balls to stick to their decision, because it's like, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's just kind of meant to be like this kind of, like, big dramatic cherry on top, and there were already, like, a shit ton of deaths up until this point in the movie that I thought were, like, pretty impactful, and it just kind of felt like a way to get, like, that final, like, oh, we need that climactic, dramatic scene, and to all at the same time while setting up the sequel where they're going to save him. So it just kind of, like, revokes any impact that it would have, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
And then, yeah, the search for Spock was a fucking mess. holy shit. Like, that one was bad. Like, that one was super sloppy. Like, I think that they could have made a good movie out of, like, the tools that they had at their disposal with it. But they didn't do a good job with it at all. So that one was really bad. I gave that one like a 4. And then The Voyage Home, pretty good. It's not like anything like super magnificent, but it's basically, I don't know how much they do this in like future Star Trek series, because I've only sin the original series and
like 8 episodes of the first or whatever.
Like half the first season of Next Generation. But in the original series, there were quite a few episodes. Pretty common for like time travel episodes in like 60s sci-fi, where they'll like go to like Earth current day, or maybe at a specific like period in like recent history, and it'll have like the characters from the Enterprise in this like contemporary setting. Voyage Home was basically just like the movie version of that.
Okay, I think I might have seen that as a kid as well.
It's the one with the whales, and it's got the actress who plays Andy's mom in Child's Play in it. I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah, I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen, if I have seen them, it's been 17 years, so
yeah.
I'm not going to really remember them, but that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that one was pretty good, pretty fun, pretty lighthearted. It was cohesive enough. There weren't any like major kind of sloppy blunders in it where it's like, well, that doesn't really make sense. So it was good. I mean, outside of the usual, just kind of like having to take it for what it is because it's corny sci-fi. Like, yeah. So I Voyage Home, I gave I think a 7 as well.
Cool.
And yeah, Next Generation's pretty good so far. I'm enjoying it.
But you said it was pretty bad so far.
Well, it's enjoyable. That's what I mean. I might have just said good as a generalization.
You know, good.
Yeah, the episode writing
quotations, good.
The episode writing's like pretty sloppy. It's a lot of like rehashes. Like, I think literally the first 2 episodes are like sequels to episodes from the original series, where it's basically like the Next Generation crew going through the same thing that the original series crew did. Nice. And it's like, oh, great way to start off your show. I think so far I'm 13 episodes deep, and there's only been like 1 episode where I've been like, well, that one was pretty good. The rest of them have been middling to pretty mediocre in terms of like their story. I like the characters, though. Some of them are a little bit flatter than others at this point, but given the fact that it's a long-running series, I'm willing to kind of take it as it is for right now.
There's some really rough characters at the beginning. Worf at the beginning fucking sucks.
Worf, I can't remember the character's name, but there is a woman, she's from the original Pet Sematary movie, she plays the mother. Her name's like, starts with a T. She's like the security officer in this first season. And it's to my understanding that she doesn't stick around, I think, beyond like the 3rd or 4th season. But it's kind of clear that she's taking every bit of like what Worf should be doing. Because like so far Worf has just literally been like, I want to fight. And they're like, no, you can't fight. Let the security officer fight. And then,
was it Tasha Yar?
Yes, Tasha Yar.
Yeah, I always forget about her.
Yeah, and so far her character has just been pretty... they've taken her characterization to some pretty weird places, and it's like, I don't know how this is going to play out, because she constantly keeps bringing up, like, her home planet and the rape gangs that were there, and they make it very clear that she's had, like, a traumatic past, and she's got, like, this thing where, like, any male who shows any attention to her, she kind of, like, really likes that. And it's like,
oh.
And she fucks Data in the 2nd episode, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, her character's weird. Yeah, you'll see. I don't want to spoil anything, but she's a weirdo.
To my understanding, she...
Yeah, she dances the night away.
That's what I heard, so...
Well, you watch anything else?
Just Star Trek and the movies for this week.
We did watch a lot.
We did.
I watched... In the height of my sickness, I watched Elf with a couple friends, because that's probably my favorite Christmas movie.
Mm.
And it was still very fun. I laughed a lot. Do you like Elf?
No.
That's fun.
I wasn't going to say anything.
That's okay. But... No, it's okay not to like a movie. Oh, Thomas doesn't like a movie.
Well, I don't like being one of those people that every time like someone talks about a movie they like, I like 7. I'm like, well, actually, I think that movie's shit. I like to let people enjoy
Well, yeah, no, that's exactly. Even when I worked at the theater, somebody's like, wow, that movie was really good. I'm like, yeah, it had its moments. Yeah, I definitely like, I'll try to say something I liked about the film. Even when Happy Time Murders came out, they're like, I was just like, yep, I love puppets.
Puppets are great.
But, no, I get it.
Sleep.
No, it's okay not to like. But I still really like Elf. I laughed a lot.
I like the stop motion in Elf.
Yeah, I do.
They got Ray Harryhausen to do that.
Oh. Ray William Johnson. Good for him.
Yeah.
And then I watched The Muppet Christmas Carol for the first time.
You hadn't seen it?
Nope.
Oh, dude,
I was worried about watching it because I don't like Christmas. I think Brian Henson is kind of a bad director. He made Happy Time Murders. And he also did Muppet Treasure Island, which I was not a fan of.
I never watched that
I thought it was pretty boring. And then I'm also not a super... I haven't read the Charles Dickens novel, but maybe it's just I think all the adaptations are bad. Or just not very good. So I was a little worried. I think one of the big problems is that Scrooge is always like kind of like a extremely evil man.
Yeah.
And it's always seems like he's just scared straight instead of actually being like an empathetic person and learning to like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I feel bad. And the Muppet Christmas Carol changed. Like it makes him a much more empathetic.
There are some adaptations that'll do a much more like surface level version of it that can make it come off that way. But there are some pretty like deep, nuanced characters that kind of like, especially when it comes to like Christmas Past, you get a good look at like kind of like
and there was some really good stuff in that one. Do you remember the ghost of, or the spirit of Christmas to come or whatever in this one?
I remember there's like
scary looking.
I remember there's like the big bearded, he's Christmas Past or present.
Christmas Present is the big bearded man.
And then is it like just a little like kind of ghost?
Like, kid ghost who looks like really scary because the like effects of age kind of poorly. Okay. So I'm like,
no, I don't remember what the future ghost looks like. Off the top of my head, I haven't watched it in quite a good while. Yeah.
Also, Paul Williams did the whole soundtrack.
I love Paul Williams!
We need to watch Bugsy Malone soon.
Bugsy Malone?
It's like a gangster, like, comedy musical that he did the entire soundtrack for, or he wrote all the music for.
I'm not aware of it.
Right after Phantom of the Paradise. It was like a year after.
Yeah, no, because Paul Williams also did the soundtrack for the first Muppet movie, and that movie's got a dank-ass soundtrack.
Like him and, he made, I don't know if he did the entire soundtrack for the first one. I know he did most of it, but he made that he made the Rainbow Connection, which is like one of the most iconic.
Yeah, no, that song's really fucking. Yes.
I was like
that explains why it didn't like come to my mind, because the typical like road figure is what they usually use for.
But it's just like adaptations. The way they made it, the puppetry. I'm just like, this is pretty fucking scary.
Yeah,
and like it has really long arms. Like, I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you ever watch Scrooged with Bill Murray?
No, I've heard that one's pretty fun.
I remember liking it. I haven't watched it in like. Probably like 5 to 7 years, so I can't speak for like if I think it would necessarily like hold up. But I remember liking that one a lot growing up.
I saw a animated version with Nicolas Cage as Jacob Marley. He's like the guy that had died previously, and the ghost comes.
Yeah.
That is one of the worst animated films I've ever seen.
Oh, is that?
Oh, yeah. I watched it just because of Nicolas Cage, and he was only in it for like 2 minutes, and I'm like, ooh, the things I do for you, Nicky boy.
I always wanted to watch the Jim Carrey one, but I never got around to it.
The like CGI one. I feel like I wish I had watched it when it came out, because if I watch it now, I'm going to be like,
this CGI.
Yeah, exactly. But I do also want to watch it. I've heard it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But, what else did I watch? Not a lot, really. I watched the stuff, but like I said, I was kind of sick. Not really feeling it. You know how it is.
I know how it is.
Yeah, I think, honestly, that was pretty much it. I think.
Okay.
Did I watch? Yeah, no, we talked about Dark Waters and Frozen 2. Yeah, that's it. Not a lot, as they say. Question time. Time for the questions now.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
I am ready for questions. I'm kind of glad that I never watched Green Room, like, pre The Next Generation, because I want to see, like, a good performance from, like, post-Picard, you know?
Oh, yes.
Like,
I forgot Picard. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, Patrick Stewart.
No,
sorry.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck does Green Room have to do with it? But I'm like, oh yeah, Patrick Stewart's in it.
Yeah.
He's in
like lots of stuff, and I've seen him.
Yeah, he's in the Emoji
stuff.
Movie.
Yeah, he's in the X-Men movies too.
I do think he's really. I really like him as Xavier.
Yeah, no, he does a good job. It's just that those movies are either bad, or the good ones are usually directed by a terrible child molester.
Yeah,
so,
like, I really love X2, Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past by Bryan Singer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like,
I don't think First Class is First Class. And I like First Class, okay, but that does not have Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, that's got James McAvoy, who is also a great actor.
He's in. Patrick Stewart plays Xavier in Logan, which I know you still haven't seen, but that's by James Mangold.
I'll probably watch it soon, since I don't necessarily have to watch the other movies for context.
That's true.
It seems like 99.9% of people tell me I can go into it blind. So.
Yeah, most of the things in it are like kind of like little like, hey, look at this. We're somewhat connected to the other two Wolverine movies, but mostly like, hey, like little nudge nudge.
Yeah.
Okay. The only questions we have today are from Pierre.
Oh, of course.
So this week I have some questions for you. First time ever, apparently. If you could make a movie based on an animal that works at a Best Buy, what animal would you choose?
I would choose a bat, because they can't see, and I think it'd be really funny to watch a bat try to work at a Best Buy with its, like, trying to, like, just get the, like, echo of sounds, or however it is that they, like, usually move around and figure stuff out. I don't know.
I would choose a snake and have it be dealing with the struggle of racism, where they're like, that guy's a snake. He's just trying to sell us all the shit they can't sell.
I figured you were going in the direction of, like, holy shit, that's a fucking snake over there. Don't go over there.
No, I was thinking of this in more of a sense of, like, kind of like a Zootopia-esque film where everyone's an animal.
Oh, okay.
Except Pierre. Pierre's there as well. He's just walking around. He works at best. He's the snake's best friend.
Huh.
And it's like, man, you can't let it go, keep you down. They think I'm a freak because I'm some kind of hairless, I don't know, spaghetti monster. That's what they think he is. A hairless
Pierre
spaghetti
or the snake?
monster. Pierre.
Okay.
They know what a snake is. Well, they don't know what a human is.
Okay.
Pierre's just the only one. And then there's a spin-off of Pierre where, he's from, Krypton. And instead of being, shot out into space, they, throw him into, a teleporter. But it teleports him into an alternate dimension instead.
So
he's the only human that's ever existed.
Earth full of anamorphic people is alternate universe Krypton?
No, because it's a teleporter as well. So it teleports to another planet. So it teleports to Earth. But it's alternate universe.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he just teleported to an alternate location.
And you wouldn't know it was a spin-off with Pierre until the very end. It's just about Krypton, about the people there. It's mostly like a political thriller, and then right at the end, everything starts exploding. They're like, "We have to get him out of here!" And they throw him in, and then it cuts to the beginning scene of Snake Boy.
Oh, okay.
Snake by.
Snake's Best Buy.
Snest by. This is a good idea. Pierre, I hope you're ready for your cinematic universe. Do you think love can arise on the battlefield? I don't know what kind of... Yes!
I mean, it's possible. I think it's probably unlikely, depending on the circumstances, but possible.
A lot of gay love arises.
Yeah.
At least it did.
I mean, I feel like now...
cramped little beds, waiting, all you got is the boys around. Time to fuck.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, I'm sure there's probably, all sorts of different types of love that would happen on the battlefield, but I don't know if it's necessarily appropriate for love to happen on the battlefield. Might not be the best place for it.
Love conquers all. You fall in love and then you walk out of the battlefield, you're bulletproof.
Does love conquer a love of conquering?
Yes.
Which
because love of dick conquers love of conquer.
Okay.
Gay sex conquers all. Is that better?
There you go. Perfect.
Do you think Eraserhead should have a 4D experience with smell-o-vision?
No. I don't want to know what Eraserhead smells like.
I feel like the lady in the radiator just fucking reeks.
I feel
those things on her face.
I feel like everything in that movie probably fucking reeks.
Yeah.
Between him taking off his socks and
honestly, a smell-o-vision thing, it wouldn't be the ideal viewing experience, but it would add something, I think. It would be oppressively uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I feel like David Lynch would put smell-o-vision in it, not the thing where you do that, but he'd have his own, if he could do it in a private theater where they waft in the smells, that's something he would do. He'd be like, now I need you to waft in cow manure.
Yeah, potentially.
And anyone that's on their phone, go shove some in their face.
Take their phones and shove it straight into the pile of cow shit.
On your phone?
Get real.
Get real.
Oh my god. They're doing a Twin Peaks VR video game.
I saw that.
Me and Lucero were looking at it.
And he's doing it. He's pretty involved. Right?
Yeah. As far as I know, I haven't looked into it super in depth. I just watched the 2 trailers that they put out.
I didn't even know David Lynch knew what a video game was.
Oh my god, it looks bad. It looks so bad. Oh, David, you should have hired some better people for your models. Oh my god, it looks awful.
Maybe that's the point.
Maybe. I'm gonna probably play it still because A, it's a Twin Peaks video game that's like official, and B, they have like any bit of what happens like post season 3. I want to know what the fuck is up.
It's gonna be an awful game, and David Lynch is gonna appear in your goggles and go, "I fooled you all. I made you buy this shitty game as an experiment."
See, that's kind of what he does with like most things he like directs. He just doesn't like come out and say. He usually does it in some sort of weird abstract way.
Yeah, but he's old now. He'll just come out and say, he's like, "I'm tired of bullshit. Fuck you."
Oh man, if you thought that the ending of Twin Peaks Season 3 was confusing, wait until I show you what's ahead.
I'm so excited to watch Twin Peaks, but...
Oh, dude, it's good. It's good.
I gotta watch Dune 7 times first.
I would say you don't have to watch like all of his short films and stuff, but definitely watch all of his like...
Oh, I will watch all his short films.
I mean, you can eventually, but...
No, I'm doing that first. All the short films, all the features, then Twin Peaks.
Because he's like one of those directors that has like... He makes a lot of movies that don't go into theaters, so he's got like hundreds of movies. It might
I'll just
be
do
like
all the ones on Letterboxd. There aren't that many.
Okay.
I think there's like 68.
Yeah, I want to say like I looked on IMDb one time and they gave him like 150 credits or something like that. Maybe not.
I liked a lot of his short films because some of them just feel like shit posts.
Yeah, kind of.
The Disc of Sorrow is installed. Oh man, that one's... Smell-o-vision. That's a great question, Pierre. I know it wasn't meant to be, but that opened an interesting pathway.
Yeah.
Keep sending Eraserhead questions forever.
He probably will.
For episode 100, we'll rewatch it with Pierre.
Oh boy, that would be.
Why is the collar off?
See,
Did he sit on the keyboard to make the sound design?
That would be an interesting episode because you would see like all my different
I won't
phases.
be here either. It'll just be you and Pierre.
Because I have like certain like stages. 'Cause I can generally tolerate a lot of like shit posting, but there will eventually, like, if you keep pushing past the line, I will start to not be amused anymore.
Yeah.
It'll just reach a point where it'll be like, all right, Pierre, I don't know what to fucking say. You don't like Eraserhead. But for now, I'm still fine. You can hate Eraserhead all you want, Pierre. I still love it.
You still love him. Have you spoken to Pierre yet?
No, me and Pierre have never talked. Aside from the communications on the podcast.
Maybe Thomas and Pierre are the same person.
Maybe. I mean, I can't disprove that at this point.
Until you start your own podcast with him.
Yeah, then I'd be like, all right, for sure we're not the same person. Unless
you're just doubling the audio.
Yeah, I like listen back after we record it. I'm like, wait, this is all my voice.
Wait. There's only one voice coming out, and there's just long periods of silence. Am I imagining Pierre? You like suddenly wake up in a mental institution. You're like, what? Pierre's real! You can't tell me!
That is legitimately like something I fear. I think
everyone does.
I fear like I'll just like be living a normal day and then I'll just come to it. I'm like just in this fucking like mental institution. I'll be like, what the fuck?
There was an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where there was like a demon that like he like scratched Buffy or something. Like he wounded her and she started having like visions. He like poisoned her pretty much. And she started having visions where she like woke up in like the real world and she had been like in a coma and she was like insane, and they were trying to her like family there was trying to convince her that like that was the real world, and the only way to like get back to it was to like kill off all the people in the fake world. And like she almost does, like she ties them up and is like about to kill them, and then she like chooses not to. And she's like, oh, I'm glad I'm okay now. And then it cuts back, the ending of the episode just cuts back to, like, them in the real world being like, we lost her again.
Oh,
and I'm like, whoa!
Gaslighting the audience.
I love it! You should gaslight everyone in your life.
Yeah.
Just fuck people.
Start with your senile grandmothers.
Yeah. Go listen to the podcast.
What?
I'm on this podcast, Grammy.
Hey, Grandma, listen to my podcast.
2 screens and a ween.
I like how it's funny because we're talking about like presenting the podcasts to like grandmothers as if we're in the podcast, but the joke doesn't really travel because we're the ones talking about it. It is actually our podcast. Anyway, what's your movie idea for this week?
Alright. So a guy gets really fucking sick, right? And he's like bedridden. He doesn't really have any friends that he like talks to on a regular basis. Like he has friends that he meets at like work and stuff and that he interacts with. This has been done before, but I just want to do it again, I guess. But when he gets sick, nobody really checks up on him. So he's sick for like 3 days, just really bedridden. Like he doesn't even really leave his room. He has like a little mini fridge and like his own microwave because he hates his roommate.
Okay.
So he's like, he literally just doesn't leave his room. He has a bathroom, he has a microwave, a fridge. So he's just like making himself food and he has a bunch of snacks and stuff. And he's just like has a super high fever. And he keeps having dreams of like people screaming and like car crashes and stuff. And he's like, oh, and then he finally starts like, be okay again. And he like goes out of his room and he's like, whoa, what's going on? And he like opens the front door of his apartment and like the sky's red and like there's just like fires everywhere and cars crashed and just no one around.
Okay. So is he like the last man on Earth, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like kind of like the beginning of a lot of zombie movies, like 30 Days Later, or what is it? What?
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later. That was it.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning of that, but if that beginning section was the movie, where like most of the film is based around him being like sick and having these fevers and like having these like strange nightmares of like worlds ending and stuff. And then it, like near the end of the movie, like wanders out. It's like, it's all real.
Interesting.
What about you?
Alright. So it's a modern contemporary remake of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, but it's got a completely different plot. It basically just steals the title and the basic concept.
Santa Claus conquers the Mercurians.
No, it's still going to be Martians.
Okay.
Basically, because it's going to be like a mall Santa who's like leads kind of a shitty life, and basically like aliens will like come down to Earth and they'll be like, we've heard of your Santa Claus. We want him. Us Martians need presents on Mars. And so they like end up abducting this like mall Santa thinking it's him. And basically it's like him trying to like steal an escape pod from this like big Mars ship and trying to like get back to Earth while destroying their ship.
So you just want to make Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, but good.
Yeah. Cause like
or entertaining.
Yeah, because I mean, it was actually Santa Claus in like the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, and he never conquers the Martians. It's not like violent or anything. It's basically like
Santa Claus has polite political discussions with the Martians.
He like gives them toys. I don't know. I haven't seen
Santa Claus gives some toys to some Martians, but gets kidnapped, and it's fine at the end. Nothing really happens of consequence. He just kind of takes a quick vacation to Mars.
Yeah, pretty much. From my
and yours is like Mall Santa obliterates the Martians.
Yes.
That can be the sequel where he like commits, like, genocide on them.
Yeah, the sequel picks up right where the first one left off, with him, like, getting the, like, little space pod and is about to go back to Earth. He's like, wait a minute. What if more come? He just turns around and is like, well, time to commit genocide against the Martians.
And then there's, like, a third one that comes out, like, 15 years later, where it's, like, the Galactic Council is, like, putting him on trial for his war crimes. And he's, like, been in jail for, like, 14 years once they found out. They're like, he just got destroyed, you know? Christmas doesn't exist anymore. The world's destroyed because he committed genocide.
Yeah. They're like, all right, well, humans...
and then he's like, well, what did you want me to do? And then they show him the whole film of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, the original.
And he's like, oh.
And he's like, I'm sorry for my ways. They're like, you may just be a mall Santa, but fuck you.
And he's like, you know what? I'm going to commit genocide against this whole Space Federation. And then he escapes and he does it somehow. I don't know. All right. Well, those are two pretty fresh and pretty poppin' movie ideas. But,
yeah, pretty poppin'.
Yeah. Just like your local movie theater's popcorn. Yeah. So we watched a lot of Rankin and Bass. Is that their name?
Rankin or Rankin? I think it's Rankin.
It's probably Rankin.
Rankin and Bass. Rankin and Bass, and then we watched Once and Twice Upon a Christmas.
Oh shit, we did? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Most of these I hated.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd use the word hate. I was just very...
I liked two of the things we watched, I think. And I barely liked them.
Yeah, that might generally be about my opinion. I think there's only one that I was like, wow, that wasn't too bad. My main reaction to most of them was like, I'd start it, I'm like, is that really all that fucking happens in this movie? This movie had, like, no fucking plot. Like, they're very, very simple movies. And they're very slow. Like, they're short,
so short, like,
but they drag.
None of them are more than an hour.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my gosh. Most of them could be, like, 10 minutes long and convey every single point that they wanted to. Alright, are we going in, like, chronological order of, like, years released, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, we'll go the Rankin Bass movies chronological order. Or order of release. I don't know if, like, chronological order. The Little Drummer Boy, because that's based in, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's based in the year 0.
Yeah, back when your homeboy Jesus was born.
Okay, so first up, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is probably considered the best by most people.
Yeah, this was the one that I had, like, the fondest memories.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
Silver and Gold was, like, my jam as a kid. I was like, Silver and Gold. That was one of my favorite colors as a kid.
No. Probably
because of this movie. There's a lot of things that these movies, like, made me do as a kid, like, that I liked because of. So, very simple. If you know the story of Rudolph, you know the story of this.
Yeah.
Mostly.
There's a couple B plots shoved in there.
So, Rudolph is a little, he's born, he has a red nose, his dad is like, uh-oh, I'm embarrassed of my son. His dad's Donner, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
He's embarrassed of his son. Santa's like, uh-oh, we gotta get this under control. I'm like, what the fuck?
I saw, like, this thing, like, meme going around on my news feed that's like, it was like something along the lines of, like, Santa totally knew that the other reindeers had bullied Rudolph. And it's like, yeah, no shit. In the movie, he joined along with them. He didn't like necessarily go like, you fucking freak. But he did make his bigotry towards that red-nosed gnome.
Yeah, and that was, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, Santa, you're
like the symbol
attitude dictates how everyone else will act.
Yeah. It's like you're supposed to be like this all-loving symbol of like goodness and peace and shit.
But or
maybe not peace, but...
So he's like a year old. They hide his nose with like a little black rubber nose that goes on top of it pretty much.
Yeah.
They hide it for like a year. He starts like flight school. And he makes like a friend. And he meets like a sexy girl. And they're like,
a rainbow?
Hey, a doe. He's like, hey, babe. And she's like, hey, babe. And
she's like, your voice sounds funny.
He's like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? My voice is funny. She's like, I like it. And she's like, I like you. And he's like, oh, she likes me. And all these reindeer that have been trying to fly are like just eating shit. They're like getting like 5 feet of air and then just like falling down. And he like zooms up into the air.
Yeah, he's super ecstatic about this girl digging him. And then
he's like, she likes me.
And then
she likes me.
His
and then
nose.
He's jumping around with his buddy he just met. And his nose falls off. And everybody's like, ah!
Michael Jackson!
They're like, break! And I'm like, this is all Santa's fault. You can't blame these kids for being assholes if their God is like, break!
Yeah. So basically Rudolph is like...
runs away!
Yeah, fuck this. And meanwhile, while all this has been going on, there's been a B-plot going on with
what's his name?
I don't remember his name. There's an elf. He wants to be a dentist. And all the other elves are like, what the fuck? You're supposed to like making toys. He's like, well, I don't like making toys. I want to fix people's teeth for a living. And they're like, well, that's fucking nuts. And he's basically like, well,
Hermie. I'm Hermie the elf.
So he's like, well, I'm gonna leave then. So he goes and he meets Rudolph. And they're like, hey, we're two freaks, peas in a pod, you know? We'll be misfits together. And they sing that little Misfit song, and then they meet, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yukon Cornelius!
Yes.
Silver and gold. Gold and silver.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Right before they meet him, they're hiding from the abominable snowman, which is like the main antagonist of the movie, who they're like, he's gonna kill us!
I thought Santa was the main antagonist.
I mean, he's the secret antagonist.
Okay.
He's like, he is the antagonist. He's evil.
Yeah.
But the abominable snowman, they're like, they need someone to blame for their woes.
Yeah, so...
Yukon Cornelius comes up with a sled pulled by dogs, and he sings about silver and gold, and then they all become friends.
And then, the abominable snowman starts like chasing them, and they're like, "Ah, shit!" So they like get on this little corner by the water, and he takes his little pickaxe and he
breaks off the ice.
Yep. And they
start floating away because the abominable snowman like can't swim, or like his body mass is like too big to like swim. He'll just sink.
Yeah, he jumps in and he just sinks, and then he floats back up and gets back onto the land.
And I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing with, but just cutting off a piece of an iceberg and just floating is the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
Like, you'd probably just die.
Yeah, that piece of ice would eventually sink.
Yeah.
Your body heat would melt it.
Even if it stayed, you'd just fucking starve to death.
Well, lucky for them, they're right next to the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, which is the island that Santa, just drops off all the bad
sentient toys.
Yeah, these sentient toys. He calls them freaks, and he throws them to the wolves.
And basically, they get there.
Get out of there, you freaks! You're abominations.
Yeah, Santa's a fucked up person in this movie. He puts all the fucking sentient toys in this little fucking isolated, like, ghetto island. It's like, tells Rudolph he's a worthless piece of shit. He can't be part of the flight team until he realizes he needs him. And then he's like, well, I guess I've got something to gain from this. Come on, Rudolph. It's like, fuck. But yeah, so basically they're like, can you please tell Santa to come get us? And they're like, all right. So they go back to the North Pole,
where, for whatever reason, his parents and his sexy girl from, like...
Yeah, they all went out.
It has been, like, 8 years or so, or how long has it been? He's, like, an adult, so at least, like, a year, I'm guessing.
Probably a year,
maybe
animals,
2.
Mature faster than...
Hermie just has a giant beard. I want to be a dentist!
Yeah, Hermie and Cornelius don't go with when Rudolph leaves. He, like, leaves on his own. And then, so Rudolph gets home, he's like, where is everybody? And they're like, well, is it Santa who tells him? Someone tells him.
I think it's Santa. Maybe Mrs. Claus.
But they're like, whoa, they've been looking for you, Rudolph. They're out looking for you now. And he goes and he finds him in the Abominable's cave. And he's like, I gotta do something. And what ends up happening is...
he gets wrecked. He, like, attacks and then he just gets destroyed.
Yeah, and then...
he passes out.
Cornelius and Hermie show up, and Cornelius, like, ends up, like, collapsing a bunch of rocks onto him, and then Hermie just fucking yanks out all of his teeth. Yeah. Makes him docile.
But then, even though, like, he can't eat anyone, Cornelius is still like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. And starts, like, punching him and pushing him back.
Oh,
and then they fall off a cliff together.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're like, no! Cornelius!
Yeah. And then they're all celebrating, and
then Yukon just shows up again.
Yeah, and he's like, I got this reformed soul over here who needs a job putting Christmas stars on trees.
Yeah. So, Rudolph,
with his nose so bright, Santa
shines his way tonight.
Yeah, he's like, will you guide my sleigh tonight, Santa?
And then they give away all the freak toys.
Yep.
Knowing Santa, he probably gave them to, like, deformed children.
Yeah, probably.
To go, ha ha.
People are going to think this kid's crazy. I gave him a talking toy.
There's John Mulaney was just on, like, I think it was Jimmy Fallon recently. Or, like, one of the talk shows, and, yeah, it was Jimmy Fallon, and they were doing this thing where he was just doing, like, quick opinions on things. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came up, and he's like, now listen, this is what I think about this. He's like, then all the reindeer loved him? Listen, there's a big difference between fame and love, and I've learned that the hard way.
But pretty funny. I like John Mulaney's stand-up. He's a pretty
funny guy.
Yeah. I like his bit about the burning, or the dude who, like, steals antique photos from people's parties. It's a pretty good bit. Look it up if you haven't heard it.
What did you think of this one?
I thought it was one of, like, the better ones that we watched.
I thought it was okay. I do think it was, like, the third best one or something.
Yeah, but, yeah, I wasn't really thrilled with it.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if, like, Yukon Cornelius just wasn't in it. And take out Yukon Cornelius, take out the Abominable Snowman. There's no need for it.
Yeah, take out...
I like Hermie in it. I like having two characters. I like a little fucking elf wanting to be a dentist. I think it's funny. And I think that having two characters that are both, like, misfits, helps to add to it. But literally the film has him have, like, a scene, and then he runs away, and then he's useless for the rest of the movie until he takes out some teeth.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Yukon Cornelius, really. He's like, I'm going to sing my song, and then we're going to introduce a bunch of other shit. And I'm like, why don't you just make one arc?
Yeah. Screen time could have been devoted a little bit better on this, but, yeah.
And also make Santa not evil. Or make him very evil, but knowingly.
Yeah, because he was a dick in this, but it felt all unintentional. And it was like, they could have done something interesting with it, but no. Instead, they just decided to go the route of trying to make him seem like a good guy, but he's really just very questionable. But yeah, this was not quite as good as I remember it being as a child. Because I loved Rudolph when I was a kid.
Yeah, I loved like 2 of these as a kid. Maybe 3.
I liked all of them. Like I liked the one that had this baby New Year with the big ears.
I haven't seen that one. It seems horrifying.
I don't remember it being horrifying.
The New Year donkey or whatever.
I don't remember the donkey. I just remember the baby.
The baby.
And then, I remember, they did, the CG Island of Misfit Toys movie. I had, that one when I was a kid, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Nestor, the long-eared Christmas donkey.
What the? I have never seen that, but I can see why you think it's kind of scary.
Yeah. I keep thinking about it. Very scared.
But yeah, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you go and blow yourself tonight?
Ooh, that was epic!
Hey-o!
I gave this movie a 5, because at least it wasn't 2 hours.
I'll give it a 4, because the puppetry is pretty neat to look at.
Yeah. A lot of the puppetry is not very good in some
It's not good, but...
This one's fine.
Given the time periods that these were made, and
64,
the fact that they're TV movies,
yeah.
I'll give a bit of leeway.
Yeah, so 4.5, not very good, but if you like it, maybe you'll still like it.
Maybe.
Sam the Snowman's in it. He was in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
He's an elf.
Oh, he is an elf,
Well, it's not the same one, but...
Might as well
I think his name's Leon in Elf. Okay. Next up, really having a fun time here. Oh, God. Is it what I think it is? Oh, dear Lord. Welcome to the Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah, I can sum this one up in 2 minutes. A little boy, his parents were murdered by thieves, so he doesn't trust people, so he just wanders through the desert with his donkey, his sheep. It's a donkey and a sheep, right? And isn't there one more? I think he's got 3 animals following him around.
A camel?
Yeah.
Camel, donkey, sheep, I think?
Yep. So he's got those 3. A couple bandits show up and they're like, "Hey, kid, you drum pretty good. We're going to kidnap you and make you do what we want." So they take him into, I don't know if it's meant to be, that's Jerusalem, isn't it?
Bethlehem.
Or Bethlehem, right? Yeah.
Or no, the first town they go to, I don't know. I know they go to Bethlehem. They just kind of wander around. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they go to Jerusalem first. I don't know. They go to some town first.
Yeah, and he plays his drums because he's kind of got no choice. And then he kind of freaks out afterwards because he's upset.
I hate people!
Yep.
You're all evil. I only like animals.
So they go back to the desert where they come across 3 wise men. They're on their way to go see, the birth of Jesus.
And they try to sell him a song. And they're like, "We're too busy."
Yeah, but we'll buy your donkey, though. And then they sell the kid's donkey against his will. So
they sell the camel.
Oh, is it the camel?
I believe so.
I thought it was the donkey, but it might be the camel. I don't know. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. They sell one of his animals. He gets super fucking pissed off, and he's like, "Fuck you guys."
Escapes. And they don't really care anymore. They're like, "We got our money."
Yep. So the kid goes, and he's like, "Oh, they were following that star. I'll just follow that star, too, and it'll naturally lead me to my donk camel." So he goes, and he eventually sees the birth of Jesus, and he doesn't have any gifts like frankincense or
run over.
The sheep gets run over, and he's sad. He's like, "Oh, no." And they're like, that baby over there that was just born could bring your sheep back to life. And he's like, okay. He goes up and he plays his drums. And then little baby Jesus goes bazinga and brings his sheep back to life. And, yeah, that's like where it ends, isn't it? I don't remember, like, the ultimate climactic point where it ends, but,
the climax of the movie is so fucking boring.
It's just like, there is no climax. It's a straight line all the way across. God. Yeah, no, I give this one a fucking 2 because it's got the stop motion.
I give it a 1. This is one of it was 25 minutes long, and it was so boring, as well as, like, the puppet for the Asian wise man looked really bad and pretty racist.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt that it was played by a white man. And,
probably. I'm sure it was certainly crafted by a white guy.
Yeah.
My general philosophy is anything that's stop motion automatically gets a score higher than a 1, just simply for the effort of stop motion. So this would be a 1 if it were, like, CG animated or something, but...
Ooh, I want to see some CG from 1960s.
That would be pretty
Epic.
good CG.
Yeah, I can't...
But...
It's so bad.
I agree with you. I generally agree that it's the same level of garbage.
And I remember I liked it as a kid, and I was just like, well, I guess everything's bad.
It's true.
Yeah, so 1.5 out of 10. Don't watch this.
Yeah.
Unless you're a real Rankin Bass aficionado. I just watched this on YouTube.
I watched most of them on YouTube.
The comments on this one in particular are the stupidest I've ever read.
Can you believe that boy played that drum for Jesus?
Most of them were like, this is the best Christmas movie I've ever seen. Somebody said, this is the best film I've ever seen.
Well,
and then another person said, man, they don't make them like this anymore. They wouldn't be okay with putting, like, religion in a film about Christmas anymore. And I'm like, what? Have you never seen, like, any, like, Pure Flix films or most, like, Hallmark Christmas movie, a lot of Christmas movies? Literally, they seem to make, like, an animated religion movie every, like, year now.
Yeah.
The Star just re-released in theaters, even though apparently it was awful.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And I'm like, what do you mean? There's religion everywhere.
Doesn't The Star have the little drummer boy in it?
Probably. I feel like it's just kind of like a remake.
I was going to say, like,
it's
based
probably
off, like,
better.
The cutout we had at the theater, I remember it, like, looking like a remake to this.
It's probably not good, but it's probably better.
I don't know if it's this same thing, but stretched out into a 90-minute movie. I don't know if I necessarily say it's better, but I can't say because I haven't seen it. Wow, that donkey looks bad. He just showed me a CGI donkey.
It has a 6.1 on IMDb.
How do you feel about Henson Company doing CG movies? Because that's what that is.
Oh, is this the Henson Company?
Yes. I remember seeing that on, like, the cutout. I was like, what the fuck?
That's kind of fun. I mean, I'm like, why? But they can do whatever they want. I feel like it's a pretty... I guess I would have to know Jim Henson's thoughts on, like, non-puppet related things.
Yeah. I don't know what his thoughts on that were.
I feel like... Because... It feels disingenuous if he was, like, against computer animation, but it wasn't really, like,
prominent
a thing when he died. But he also didn't, like, he was fine with making non-puppet films. Like, some of the first things he made didn't have puppets, and there was a time when he didn't want to do puppet things anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not super disingenuous or anything, so I'm fine with it. It would be nice if they made something good.
Yeah.
But do whatever you want, I guess. You want to make bad things? Go for it. Make Happy Time murders, too.
Or don't.
Or don't. Make Muppet Christmas Carol crossover with Happy Time murders.
It'd be a weird crossover.
I would. Okay, the next one's a non-stop motion one.
Oh, Frosty
the only one. Frosty the Snowman. This was probably my favorite as a kid.
Yeah, I like this one a lot as a kid, too.
I said happy birthday to people a lot.
Happy birthday!
I did that as a greeting. Like when I was in probably 7th grade
did
to
you just think he
10th grade.
Said that as a greeting and not as
I just thought it was funny to say it as a greeting.
I was going to say...
I said it for 4 years. Because people would be like, it's not my birthday. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just thought it was funny because they'd be so confused. And then a couple of times I got it right. And they'd be like, how did you know? And I'm like, Magic Christmas. And they'd be like, it's April.
Yeah. Wow. This one?
I don't mind this one.
Short?
It's short. It's 25 minutes long.
It's almost like the middle chunk of it's basically just like an adaptation of the song, and then there's a little introduction piece at the beginning, and then there's a little finale to this story that they had been building up at that point.
Yeah. So beginning, there's a little professor guy. He was a professor of magic. He is a professor of something.
Oh, what? I thought he was just some hack magician.
No, they introduce him as professor.
Oh, weird. But yeah, he's bad at magic.
Professor Hinkle.
Huh.
He's bad at magic. There's a rabbit that won't come out of the hat. He drops a bunch of eggs.
Yeah, he's performing at a school, by the way.
Yeah, and they're all laughing at him. They're like, you're a fucking loser. Yep. They don't actually say that. I wish.
And that'd be nice.
They throw the eggs at him. Anyway, he kind of just is like, I'm done with magic. And he storms out.
Yeah, he throws his hat. And the kids are outside building a snowman.
And they're like, he needs a hat.
And then the hat shows up and they're like, oh. They put it on and then he's like, Frosty comes to life.
He comes to life and goes, happy birthday. Because it's his birthday. He's born.
And then the professor sees this.
And he's like, I like being alive.
He's like, well, that's too bad because I'm taking my hat back. And they're like, you can't do that.
You throw it away. It's ours now.
Yeah, it's giving Frosty life. And he's like, I don't give a shit. It's my goddamn hat and I'm going to take it. So he ends up taking the hat back. And then, something happens to him when he's walking away and he drops the hat and the rabbit takes it back.
I think the rabbit was just in the hat and he just kind of jumps off his head.
Oh, maybe.
That might be it. So they get the hat back, and then Frosty, they're dancing around, playing around, and they're he's sweating. He's like, what the fuck, guys? It's hot out here.
What's that thermometer say? Is it all red? Almost. Oh, no, I don't like when the thermometers are all red.
I'm like, you just were born. How do you know?
Yeah, how do you have all this,
And I'm I guess you're magic.
Hey,
maybe all this previous knowledge is part of Professor Hinkle's knowledge because it sat on his head and absorbed his knowledge.
Maybe. So yeah.
So he's like, we gotta go to the North Pole. So they take him to the train station. They see a bunch of people and they're like, what the fuck?
Everyone's just like, what?
Somebody gets half their mustache shaved off.
Oh, yeah.
They go past a crossing guard who swallows his whistle and goes, hold her here. You okay?
Yeah.
And then they get to the train yard. They try to buy a ticket. He's like, I don't have any money.
No money. This is a capitalist society. You think
I don't care you're a magic snowman, you're gonna melt and die.
Yeah. Unless you got good, hard, actual, real cash, not snow cash. You can't get on this train. So, of course, they do what any person would do, and they just, hitch a ride on one of the box cars that's, got a bunch of, ice cream cake in it. And the one little girl accompanies him, and she's, cold, and she starts, freezing to death, I guess. She's getting real cold. So he's like, oh, I gotta get off this train and help her. So he, like, picks her up and jumps off the train. And the professor has been, like, following him this whole time. And he's, like, on the bottom of the train. He's like, God damn it.
And he's, like, finally gets on top and right as they're, like, off. And he's like, no! And so he jumps off and, like, falls down.
Yeah. And they basically they're, like, in the middle of the woods, but there's, like, this little greenhouse.
Well, first they build, like, a fire. And then the professor shows up, and she's, like, trying to warm up. She's, like, freezing. She's, like, dying of hypothermia. And he just, like, kicks some snow in the fire. Oh, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck?
This dude doesn't give a shit about this little girl's life. He's like, I just want my hat!
So then Frosty is the best belly whopper. And he slides down the hill, and the narrator's like, he's the best damn belly whopper. I'm like, what the fuck does a belly whopper mean, man?
I don't know. But
so he slide down the hill, hit a greenhouse, and he's like, well, we'll just go inside just for a second. She's like, you'll melt. And he's like, I'll leave in a second. I just want to make sure you're okay. And as soon as they walk in, Professor Hinkle runs up and shuts the door on them. And I guess it's just locked from the outside. And I'm like, that seems irresponsible, yeah.
So Frosty melts and she's
melts. She's like crying. Meanwhile, the rabbit had been trying to get a hold of Santa Claus through like some woodland creatures or something.
Yep.
And Santa shows up, and the rabbit's like, dude, we need to go help this little girl. And they like run to the greenhouse, and they find Frosty melted. And they open the door, and they bring him back to life, pretty much.
Yeah, he's like, you dumb bitch, she's not dead. This is Christmas snow. And then he, like, opens the door, and a gust of snow comes in, and he's like, happy birthday!
And the professor runs up, and he's like, give me my hat! And Santa's like, if you don't leave now, I will never give you another Christmas present.
He's like, what? You can't do that.
And I'm like, what do you mean? He just killed a sentient creature. We didn't know it was coming back to life. He didn't know that either. He knowingly murdered something.
And he would have probably murdered this little girl, too.
And I'm like, you're going to let him off? What are you doing, Santa?
Well, to be fair, he has to get home and write like 10,000... If
I was Santa, I would have murdered him. I would have turned him into a snowman and thrown him in the greenhouse.
I would have been like, careful, you're going on Krampus's list.
I'm calling my brother.
Oh, God, why didn't we watch Krampus for the Christmas
I do like Krampus a lot. You like Krampus, right?
Yeah, I fucking loved Krampus. I mean, I only saw it the one time in theaters. But,
yeah, me too.
I remember liking Krampus quite a bit.
Me too. We'll just add it. Just watch a billion movies.
Yeah.
And then they drop her off. Here, I'll drive you home. And they drop her off on the roof of her house. And I'm like, everyone I was watching with, we were just like, how the fuck is she getting down?
She's going to stomp on the roof and go, Dad, get the ladder!
She's going to stomp on the roof, slip and die. Break her neck. And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
And it's thumpity, thump, thump, thumpity, thump. Look at Dusty go. Steve,
yeah. I give this one a 5.
I also give this one a 5. They're like, I like the character. Professor Hinkle is kind of wacky, and like Frosty's kind of fun. Like, there's some fun elements. I think it's mostly just too short to have any substance.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have wanted it to be longer, though.
I mean, the story they put in it couldn't have been any longer.
Yeah.
They would have actually had to write something.
Yeah.
I like the rabbit character. He, like, when he's trying to tell Frosty his plan, he, like, uses snow to, like, be like, I'm Santa Claus. I remember as a kid, I'm like, that bunny looks like Santa!
It's pretty funny. Peak comedy.
Yeah, so 5 out of 10. It's okay.
Yeah. Alright, what's the next one? We've got, 2, 3 more? Talk about from the...
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Okay.
So, this one, Rudolph, and The Year Without a Santa Claus are, like, considered the best by most people.
Yeah, I'd probably say that this was my favorite out of, like, the Rankin and Bass stuff that we watched.
I agree. This one I actually liked. I remember, like, this was, like, my favorite as a kid. Specifically, I really like Winter Warlock in it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I'm like, he's so cool. And I'm like, wow. Bad people that are ugly maybe aren't evil.
Yeah, maybe.
So this one's also one of the longer ones, but it's like at least has a story.
Yeah, it has a narrative.
Yeah. Some of it still drags, but give me 1 second. You can keep talking about this one, about Frosty.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, I think this one opens, we find that he's being delivered. Basically, there's this little orphan baby being dropped off on the doorstep of these elves called the Crinkles.
The Kringles.
Oh, Kringles. My bad. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. But yeah, and basically...
Yeah, I do think, I want to say the main guy is Dingle, the first one that finds them. Dingle or Dinkle. So his name is Dingle Kringle.
Fantastic. Oh, that's,
Burgermeister Meisterburger. I have a, little doll of Burgermeister here.
Yeah.
That my mother gave me.
That's pretty neat.
Because he was always my favorite as a kid, just because of his name. It made me laugh.
Huh. But yeah, basically, little Claus baby dropped off with the Kringles. They raise him.
Well, yeah, originally, so it actually introduces this character, Burgermeister, right at the beginning.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because he's originally dropped off at his house.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, get rid of him. And his, like, assistant is, like, taking him into the woods. And then he, like, loses the baby.
Oh, yeah.
It, like, falls. Or it, like, I think it's in a carriage and it just kind of, like, slides away. And he's like, I'm not fucking going in the woods. But then the woodland creatures, like, hide him from Winter Warlock, who's, like, walking around like, brr. And then they take him to the Kringles.
Yes.
And then it goes. And then go on.
Yeah. I watched this one like a week ago, so it's a little hazy. But basically...
I can take it if you want.
I mean, I can probably do it. It's just I'll be a little, like, foggy at points. Might, like, kind of cut some corners here and there to get to the main beat of the story. But basically, they, like, make toys, right? That's, like, their thing.
Yeah. And they, like, used to give it to children, or they like to give things to children, but they just, like, don't really have any more.
Winter Warlock is, like, fucking up their thing.
Yeah.
We don't really go to give the children toys anymore, because Winter Warlock is kind of a dick who locks away. And basically, like, he grows up, and he's like, well, one day
Chris Kringle was like, I'll fucking take them on. I'll beat the shit. Not really, but he's like, I can do it. I'm fast. And he's like jumping around because he's lived with like these woodland creatures, so he can like climb. And he's like a superhero.
Yeah. And basically, yeah, he's basically like, when I'm older, I'll deliver that for you. And then he's older, and he's like, oh, I'm going to deliver these toys. And he goes, and he makes his way over to the town. And he starts, like, handing out toys, and Burgermeister just outlawed toys because he's a dick.
Yeah. So everybody's like, he's like, I'm trying to give away these presents. And people are like, ah! They're running away.
And there's, like, one lady, I think she runs the orphanage, who comes up and she's like, you can't do that. And he's like,
because he's, like, trying to give these toys to kids.
He's like, here, you
toys. She's like, you can't do that. It's like, here you go, a doll for you.
She's like, I've always wanted this doll.
Maybe this law is dumb, because I get something now.
Yeah. And, surprise, surprise, this turns out to be future Mrs. Claus. Ooh.
Her name's Jessica. I'm gonna be honest here, when I was a kid, I wanted to fuck this puppet.
I mean... I don't share the same sentiments.
When you were a kid, you didn't want to fuck this puppet?
Yeah, no, I can't say the thought ever crossed my mind. But I remember seeing this one when I was a kid, because I remember, like, the red-haired young Santa. But I totally, like, when I started this movie, I thought it was, The Year Without a Santa Claus that I was, like, starting. I was like, wait a minute. What? This isn't that movie?
So had you seen this one?
Yes,
Okay.
but I only saw it, like, once.
Okay. But you saw The Year Without a Santa as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that one I hadn't seen, so.
So I had, like, kind of gotten them mixed up. So I was like, what the fuck? But, yeah, so I didn't see this one very much when I was a kid. So that's probably why I didn't want to fuck the puppet.
Because you're like, I want to fuck Heat Miser!
But, yeah, so basically, Burgermeister shows up and he's like, get the fuck out of my town with your toys! He's like, oh, alright.
Okay.
And so he goes, and then on his way back home, he comes across Winter Warlock.
Yeah,
Winter
because on the way there, Winter Warlock had been like, don't come back! And then he came back.
Yeah.
So Winter Warlock, like, ties him with... The tree from Evil Dead comes to life, and,
luckily it doesn't do what the tree in Evil Dead does.
It's the sentient tree attacks, and, he's like, wait, I have a present for you, Winter Warlock.
Yeah, and he's
And
like, what?
Warlock's like, a present for me? And he suddenly, like, shifts from this, like, evil, like, ice king.
He's like, I want people to like me, I just don't know how.
And then he just becomes, like, kind of like an old man. He's like, hello.
Yeah, and then he basically, like, lets him go, and...
He's like, I don't know how to be good. And they sing a song together.
Yeah, it's as easy as putting one foot in front of the other.
Put one foot in front of the other. This was like my favorite song as a kid, too.
Okay.
Like, I liked Rudolph a lot as well. But this one I would, like, sing every day, every time. I was like a little kid. I'd be walking to the door and I'd be, you put one foot in front of...
I think the only song out of, like, any of these movies that, like, really I think I enjoy on any level is the, like, Heat Miser, Snow Miser song.
I'm Mr. Yeah, I had heard that song, but watching that movie, I'm like, this is a good song. This is bopping.
I still like this song. I don't know if
it's not bad.
I don't know if it's mostly nostalgia, but like I also like the visuals of it. They're kind of fun. I just feel like this movie just does a lot of like little like visual things that are not just your standard puppetry. Like they actually like work hard to do things.
Is it Mickey Rooney?
Mickey Rooney is
yeah, he does a great job as like the voice performance.
Seriously, the voice that's another thing that makes this movie so much better than the others is the voiceover, the voice acting is just much better than
and the animation's a lot better because this is one of the later ones.
Yeah, this one came out
this late 70s.
No, this one's 70.
Oh,
this was only 6 years after Rudolph.
Okay.
I think Year Without a Santa was late 70s.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
No, that was 74, but still, that's 10 years after Rudolph, so. Also, this was my first introduction to Fred Astaire as a kid, because he plays the mailman.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only movie I had seen him in until like 2 months ago, when I watched Funny Face or whatever.
But, yeah.
So then he becomes friends with Winter Warlock, and Winter, who just goes by Winter now, he makes him
everyone still calls him Warlock, though.
And I'm like, you're a dick.
Yeah, every single time, because he repeatedly...
He's like, I don't want to be known as a Warlock.
Like, Warlock! Winter, please. Warlock! Winter, please. But,
he makes him like a globe. And Santa's, to see people. Oh, he sees you when you're sleeping.
Yeah, he knows.
That's a really creepy song.
It's a really creepy concept.
He watches you sleep at night and jerks off all night long.
Ah! But, yeah, so he basically, like, he just brings, like, a second batch of toys to the town, right?
Yeah, he's just like, the guy, like, bans all the toys and takes them all away. He's like, I'm bringing more toys. And that's literally most of the rest of the movie is, like, him just, like, bringing more toys. Yeah. And Burgermeister trying to, like, step up security, like, they lock the doors. And I'm like, first of all, why the fuck weren't these doors locked in the first place? People just leave their doors unlocked at night?
Yeah.
So then he starts going through the chimney.
Yep. And then, it gets to the point where, like...
Burgermeister's like, that's it! And then arrests all the elves. And I'm like, they don't live in your town. That's not legal.
Yeah. It's like,
but I'm like, I guess there's no other town around. It's not like there's any repercussions for you doing this. So and Winter's been slowly, like, losing his magic, because I guess his magic was, like, seated in evil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of an interesting concept just to, like, throw into a kid's movie. Just be like, okay, guys, what if, like, he, like, loses his powers when he starts to become good?
Well, it's, because all magic is black magic.
That's true. So he has a bunch of, like, little magic items still. But the only person that's still around is, like, Jessica's outside. She's like, you need to let them go. And Burgermeister's like, no, they're giving toys away.
Yeah. I like that scene earlier when he's like, toys, no toys. And then, like, fucking Santa Claus gives him, like, a yo-yo. And he's like,
yo-yo? Oh, wait. I'm breaking my own... His assistant's like, you're breaking your own law. He's like, ah!
Yeah.
Witchcraft!
But how does he get him out of jail? I don't know.
So Jessica is, like, talking to Warlock through, like, Winter. Now I'm doing it. She's talking to Winter through, like, the bars. She's like, is there any magic you can do? He's like, I only have these trinkets, a dozen or so used up magic candles. I'm like, why are you walking around with used up magic candles? Like, a bunch of stuff. But he has,
the thing
food,
that makes
magic reindeer food.
That has, the one purpose of making reindeer fly.
Yeah, I'm like, does it use it once and they just become flying forever? Because that's pretty good, because that's pretty much what they imply. So she takes them and she feeds them to the reindeer. And yes, it's a pretty, convenient plot point, but it's a children's movie.
Yeah. Where
they're trying to make all the things that Santa does have an origin that make no sense.
Yeah.
Like, why does he have flying reindeer? Because he was in prison for giving away toys, and a old winter magician who had lost his magic because it wasn't rooted in evil only had food that would make reindeer fly. Explaining the plot of this movie is the funniest thing.
Yeah.
There was, like, a guy who was rooted in evil, evil trees, a guy who hated toys.
But yeah.
So they fly away, and they're like, we can't stay here. So they go make Santa's castle.
Yeah, they have to go to
Santa
the
has a
Pole.
castle now.
And then, basically, like, word spreads of, like, Santa, and it gets to the point where it's all over the world.
Kris Kringle, and he's like, I have to change my name. And that's when the mama elf or whatever is like, there is another! This came with your name! Claus! And then there's these little kids that, like, talk to the narrator every once in a while, and one of them's like, oh, that's how he got his name! And I'm like, what? Yes, that's how... This was at the beginning of the movie! This was at the beginning of the story! How do you think he got his name? He got it from his pet. What do you mean?
Yeah, but, yeah. And then basically he's like, well, I'm gonna have to cut back to doing this one night a year, I guess.
And then he grows a beard.
Yep.
And then he gets old.
Fat.
He gets married.
Yep. And, that pretty much just ends, like, around there. I can never, like, remember, like, the actual ending of these movies. They just, like, fade out.
This one mostly just ended. It talks about, like, how Burgermeister slowly lost power. Like, the Burgermeister line slowly lost power, and the people love toys again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of shitty, because slowly losing power means that he was still in power for a long time, and dude cut back to once a year. So these kids were without toys for, like, most of the year. Because as soon as they got caught, they'd be taken away.
Yeah, whatever. They can...
I guess you could say that, like, because it's slowly, the idea, the word of him is slowly spreading. So maybe while he was slowly losing power, that's when his name started to spread. And that's when he cut back to once a year. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm trying to make this movie better.
Trying.
I do think it's pretty good. It's not great or anything. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's really good, but it's solid.
It's really good compared to the rest of it.
It is. Yeah.
I would give this one probably like a little 6.
I gave it a 6 as well.
So, he's coming to town. What's the name of this one?
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah. This one's not too bad. If you had to watch one of them, I would recommend this one.
You know, maybe it's just because it was one of the most refreshing to me, but I like the next one we're talking about as well, which is The Year Without a Santa Claus.
This one...
And it may just be because it was this and Jack Frost. I might look at it. I didn't really like Jack Frost, but I look at them maybe in a higher light because I've never seen them, so they were more refreshing. They weren't as boring to me.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Jack Frost either, and that was probably like the second best one to me because this one, when I was rewatching, I'm like, wow. Outside of like the Heat Miser, Snow Miser stuff, this is kind of meh. I think that the main reason I like this one is because of how stupid it is. It's really fucking stupid.
Like, so the main plot is that Santa's sick, and there's an elf that comes in, like his doctor, who just apparently hates Christmas. He's like, you need to stop doing Christmas. The kids hate you. And he's like, he believes him, but he doesn't believe his wife for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is this the continuation of the Rudolph Santa? Because he's a bad person?
He's a trained professional. He knows what he's talking about.
I don't even know if I actually like this one. I just think it's weird. I think it's okay. I don't like this movie, but I think it's okay. So, he's like, I'm done with Christmas, and he's like, I'm gonna take a vacation. So, and then Mrs. Claus is like, well, maybe I could be the Santa.
And she sings a song.
It's okay.
And then immediately,
and then she's like, no, I can't be Santa.
She's like, you're right, this is ridiculous.
And I'm like, that would have been cool. That would have been like a cool, cohesive story for this plot.
I hate the way they shut it down too, because it's like she does this little song and she's got like her back turned to the window, and then like 2 elves are like peeking in and they're like, oh, it's Santa, and they're just naturally caught off surprise that the red suit was being worn by Mrs. Claus. I'm like, Mrs. Claus, and she's like, oh yeah, you guys are right, this is a bad idea. And it's like, they never even said it was a bad idea. They were just surprised.
And I'm like, she seems to be more in the Christmas spirit than anyone else. Let her do it.
Yeah, so
that would have been cool.
She's like, I need you guys to go get hard proof that the kids want Santa. So,
so there's these 2 little elves that take like
a baby reindeer.
Yeah.
I think a vixen?
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. But they take the baby reindeer and they go and they fly away, and then Santa's like, I don't know, like, where this necessarily comes in, or, like, what led to it, I don't quite remember, but basically Santa's like, you sent those 2 elves and the baby reindeer? Oh, the misers are gonna get 'em.
Cruel world!
Yeah. Which I thought that one was pretty funny. He's like, the misers are gonna get them. And she's like, I didn't even think about them. He's like, I gotta go get them back.
I'm like, what do you mean you didn't think about these, like, warlords who are, like, shooting fire and ice and trying to end the world?
Yeah. So, yeah, they're, like, in town. They're basically like, hey, kids, do you like Santa Claus? And all the kids are like, fuck Santa Claus.
And one kid's like, I don't really believe in Santa. And I'm like, is that going to be the main kid?
Yep.
And it was.
But the reindeer gets, like, taken in by the pound, so the elves go to try to, like, save the reindeer. And then, Santa Claus shows up, and he's like, goes up to that kid, he's like, hey, have you seen, 2 short guys?
2 Weens and a screen?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I just saw it, and I haven't told my grandma about it yet. He's He's like, yeah, I saw 2 short guys and they had a dog. And their dog got taken to the pound.
Well, first he talks to this little boy, and he's like, hello, son. And he's like, my name is Mr. Claus.
Yeah.
And then his mom leans out the window, and she's like, who are you talking to? He's like, this is my friend, Mr. Claus. She's like, well, bring him on in. I'm like, you're going to just bring an old guy randomly into your house?
Yeah, the 50s. 70s,
and then they start talking about Christmas. He's like, do you believe in Santa Claus? And the boy's like, no. He's like, what about you? And he talks to the dad. He's like, yes, I do. And the kid's like, whoa.
What?
And he's like, what about you, Mr. Claus? He's like, well, yeah, I do. He's like, well, maybe if someone as old as you can believe in Santa, I can too.
Yep. So, they go and they rescue the dog from the pound. Or the reindeer from the pound. It's not a dog. And then they get...
Well, they try to rescue the reindeer. And the guy's like, no, you have to go talk to the mayor. So they go talk to the mayor.
Yeah, that's the elves. And then Santa just literally goes in and gets...
Because they just didn't have any money. And Santa's like, okay, here's some money. I'll take my doll.
Yeah.
So they're talking to the mayor. They're like, we need to do this. We need to get him out. And the mayor's like, I don't believe that you're elves and you're trying to save Christmas. So if you make it like snow here, then I'll release your reindeer. And they're like, okay, we're going to do that. And then they contact Mrs. Claus while Santa's like running around just fixing everything. So they contact Mrs. Claus. We're like, we need it to snow here. She's like, we have to go to the Miser Brothers.
Yeah, so they go, they visit Snow Miser, and he does this
He's like, I'm Mr. Snow Miser. I'm Mr. Snow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, he's like, oh, I would make it snow there, but that's my brother's territory, so you gotta get his approval. So they go over to Heat Miser, and he goes, I'm Mr. Heat Miser. I'm Mr. Green.
Do the 2 characters remind you of anyone we know?
Of anyone we know?
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like a jab at us?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, physical stature, I am a little bit like Heat Miser because I'm short.
Act like him, too. You're always singing.
I'm grumpy, I'm hot-headed, I sing a couple tunes now and then. And, yeah, like, you're tall, lanky, like, Mr. Snow Miser.
You're saying this doesn't look exactly like you.
It looks a lot like me, okay? I admit it. Except I'm not that white. I've got a little bit of a coloration compared to that. But, yeah, so basically Heat Miser's like, yeah, I'll do that if you let me melt the North Pole. And then Mrs. Claus is like, fuck you, I'm going to go tell your mom.
I'm telling your mom on you.
So they go to Mother Nature, and she's like, boys, and summons them, and she's like...
Originally, it wasn't even, like, the big deal for the North Pole to be melted, like, a little bit, because he didn't even want all of it, he just wanted a piece of it.
Yeah.
But that is the Mr. Snow Miser's territory. So then it's like a territory war thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's it, I'm calling your mom. And then they call it her, and she's like this little lady.
She's like,
she like strikes lightning down. She's like, ah!
Yeah, she's like, you're gonna make it snow wherever they want it to snow. And Heat Miser, you're just getting fucked, because you don't get any.
A little bitch.
You don't get any part of this,
it's
dude.
Literally just a day, so it's not.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it snows, and the mayor's like, wow, the elves were real, and Santa
sees it, oh wow,
everyone's
people do
Christmas faith
believe.
is restored, and that Santa Claus, it did come to town.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Yeah. And that's like the end, right?
That's pretty much it. He's like, oh, we do deliver Christmas presents. Because everybody was like, Santa's taking a vacation!
Yeah. So,
yeah. I think this one's okay, mostly because of how, like, kind of bonkers the idea of it is. Like, Heat Miser and Snow Miser, I'm like, where the fuck did they come from? What is this? Are they, Winter Warlock's, sons? Did he, fuck Mother Nature?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where's...
So many unanswered questions.
I love it. I don't love the movie, but I love these... I like that a big plot point is them, like, arguing over, like, territory.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah,
I don't know if any of this is good, but I think it's funny that they made a movie like this.
Yeah, the miser stuff is the best stuff to me from this movie. The rest of it's pretty just scrape into the can. Which is why I give this movie a big whopping 3.
I gave this one a 5.
So, it's...
So, a 4! We got one more.
And then
Jack a Thief Ross.
We've got 2 movies after that as well.
Oh, fuck.
We'll fucking lightning round through the Mickey's.
No, I'm gonna dissect them.
The thing that sucks about that is it's basically like doing reviews for all of these again, because it's comprised of short...
Well, yeah, there's more, too.
Yeah,
there's 7.
Yeah, because there's...
Or no, there's 8, technically.
In the first one, and
There's 5, but one of them is literally just a music video.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Jack Frost, really fast. He's...
You have to go really fast. That was a joke.
Okay, well, he is Jack Frost. He creates, like, snow and stuff, and he basically, like...
This one's not even based on Christmas, really. It's just about it being cold. It's mostly based about Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Like, the groundhog...
What is his name? It's like Peter...
Yeah, something like that. He's like, I have this deal with Jack Frost, you'll see, where he gets a couple more weeks of winter, and I get a couple more weeks of summer.
Pardon me, Pete.
Oh, pardon? Yeah, that's... Jesus Christ. Pardon me, Pete. The groundhog.
Played by Buddy Hackett.
Huh. But, yeah, so... Basically, he's like, let me tell you the story of Jack Frost. Well, I retreat back here to my bed. And so he tells the story of Jack Frost, and basically Jack Frost is this invisible, like, ghost guy who goes around and, you know, creates fucking snow and shit. And he's, like, watching this one woman creepily, and she's like, I love
Jack Frost!
Jack Frost!
Why are you so horny for Jack Frost?
Yeah, and so...
It's like me walking around being like, I want to fuck, I don't know, the Keebler elves.
Father Time is a hot piece of ass.
Have you seen him in the Santa Claus 3?
At one point in my life, I don't recall what he looks like at this current point. But, yeah, so basically he's like, oh shit, this girl really likes me, so I'm gonna just request to become human. So he does. He goes up and his dad's like, alright, I'll give you, like, the winter, and you can be human. And by the end of the winter, you get a house, you get a wife. What's the other thing?
It's a house to hold you, a big bag of gold to feed you, and a wife to love you or something. I'm like, what if Jack Frost was gay?
Yeah, you can't have a husband.
What if he's asexual? Why the fuck does he need a wife?
Well, to be fair, if he was asexual, he wouldn't be doing this whole becoming human thing.
What if he just wanted to be human?
I mean, maybe. But, yeah, so he becomes human. And he befriends the girl.
He's like, my name is fucking Jack Snip.
Oh, yes. So...
Oh, yeah, they had shown off a bunch of the other, like, winter people that do things.
Yeah, there's
there's this guy named Snip who makes every snowflake.
Yeah.
And I'm just like... What do you mean he makes every snowflake?
He makes every snowflake. And each one of them is unique.
Yeah. And it's just him.
Yeah.
And there's this little pixie who, like...
What do
the pixies do?
She does nothing. Okay. Anyway, she's just there for aesthetic purposes. So yeah, they show up too. And they're basically, like, just chilling with his family.
Winter Man... Whatever his name is.
Snips.
Father Winter.
Oh, yeah.
Father Winter's like, you have to go protect him from harm. And I'm like, what the fuck is this little-ass bitch gonna do?
He's gonna...
Like, Jack Frost is at least, like, human-sized. Snip is, like, weird. He's like, "Arr!" And then the
Snip
pixie
cuts every snowflake. He can probably fuck someone up with those scissors really fast.
He'd already given them to Jack Frost, though.
Oh,
and Jack Frost had become a tailor in town. He's like, I'm going to be a tailor. And I'm like, how do you know anything about tailoring?
Yeah.
Where are you getting this knowledge? And then the little pixie lady comes, and I'm like, what is she going to do? She's human. She doesn't even have powers. She's very small. And then they're like, what the fuck is she? And they're like, she's a gypsy. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Why would you say that? And I'm like, that's racist as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, like, gypsy is already an outdated term. But then it's like, she was cursed by another one. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so, what's the bad guy's deal in this one? He's got, like, a big castle and he's a
So, the guy's name, he steals all the money from town as taxes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. The townspeople have, like, winter money. That's right, snow money.
Kubla Kraus. Yeah. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
So they steal all the... He, like, taxes the people so they're extremely poor. But they still have all their supplies and stuff. He's just taking just their money. And just kind of keeping it. He doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
It just sits in his castle with his robot army and his robot puppet.
Yeah.
They really like winter, though, because when it snows and, like, everything freezes over, they make, like, ice coins.
Yeah.
And they make their own currency.
Why don't they do that with others?
And I'm like, literally, why don't you just chop down, like, a single tree and have a closed circuit of, like, wooden coins? Like, you have all of the means of production. You have everything here. He's taxing you, but doing nothing with the money, and he's not taking any of your food or anything. He's not taking any supplies.
Yeah.
So it makes I'm like, cool, ice coins. And they're like, but it's super sad when it is in winter. And I'm like, is everyone in this town just a fucking dumbass?
Yes.
Even just don't have money, just use a bartering system. It's a pretty small town.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even using money if it's, like, not really needed? If you're making up the values as soon as, like, there's no central economy because they're using ice coins that they make.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes no sense.
But yeah, the king dude,
Kubla
Kraus. He wants the
sexy woman.
What's the girl's name?
Probably like Booble.
Alright, well, he wants Booble. He's like, oh, Booble, you're the most beautiful lady I've ever seen. Please, do, come marry me. And then he takes his little puppet. He's like, oh, yes, the king is such a good guy. Such a good guy. He's good. It's like, why am I having my puppet explain this when I could be explaining it myself? So yeah,
Elisa.
So yeah, he's basically decided that they're gonna get married.
Eliza, maybe? I don't know.
And she's also got, like, a thing with a knight as well.
Well, she had like a thing with a knight when she was like a kid, and the guy like went off to King Arthur's court, and then he returns, and Jack Snip is like, "What the fuck? This guy's gonna fuck her?
What the fuck? I was nice to her. She's supposed to love me now." But yeah, so basically,
Then they go to rescue her.
And they do. And then Kubla Kraus is like, well, I'm going to send all my armies out. And then,
the knight rescues her, I think.
Yeah, and Jack...
And then Jack Frost gets captured because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, because he's a human. He's like, I don't have my powers. I'm like, Jack Frost, you're a dumbass, dude. Yeah. He's hundreds of years old. or immortal. I don't know.
Do you think he would have been observing humans long enough up until this point?
I would hope he would have like sick ass kung fu skills or something.
Something. At least some common sense. But no. So
he gets captured, and then he knows, oh god, this robot army, which is like 1,000, is gonna go like march on this town of like probably like 50 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Kubla Kraus could be like a warlord. He could have like a kingdom with a robot army.
Yeah.
Yet he just doesn't. I do like that he tries to introduce some of the robots earlier on in the movie, and he has like 5 of them named, and he's like, and then there's the rest of them.
Yeah.
So Jack Frost is like, the only thing I can do is like become a winter spirit again, and he does. It's like, I'm sacrificing my body to become myself again, and he like freezes over the castle.
Yep. Freezes all the soldiers, and they're stuck there, and then he becomes human again, and he goes, and the girl's about to get married, and she like talks to her dad, and then he just kind of disappears and becomes.
Well, he talks to her dad. He's like, he's getting married. The only person she ever loved besides him was Jack Frost, and Jack Frost isn't fucking real, or and then the snow is going to melt, and he's like, we need more time, and Father Winter is like, sorry, as soon as this groundhog comes out and stays out, that means the end of winter.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's when Jack Frost is like, I gotta go scare him, and he scares them. Yep. And they're going back into his hole. So then they get 6 more weeks of winter. And then it becomes spring. And I can't remember what happens to Kubla Kraus.
Let's just assume he freezes to death in that castle.
Jack Frost mimics the puppet's name. Yeah. He knocks out Kubla Kraus and then mimics the puppet so that the robots think that that's Kubla Kraus talking. Yeah. And he like orders them to like go on like this really treacherous area, and then they all get destroyed pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then he makes it like snow for the girl's wedding. And it's like
and she's like, my friend was here. She senses him, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and that's how it ends. This one was... I'll give it a 5.
I'll also give this one a 5.
It's okay.
There was some interesting elements, you know?
Yeah.
It's very weird.
All right.
Not really a Christmas movie.
Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
Yeah. I just want to state that we liked one of those 6 movies we watched.
Yeah. And even then, I wasn't like super passionate, like, yes,
6 out of 10. Yeah.
I just I was like, oh yeah, that one was pretty alright. I like that one a lot more than the other ones.
So, Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas was one I had just watched like 8 days prior to you wanting to watch it again.
Yeah.
So, and I hated it the first time.
And I hated it.
And I hated it the second time.
Yeah.
Now this first one is like, most people that I've talked to say it's pretty good.
It's generic and it rips off other movies.
And I also just don't think any part of it's good.
Yeah.
So it has 3 stories.
Yeah, it's a nice tree house of mouse, but Christmas.
The first one is about Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
It's Groundhog's Day, but
it's Groundhog's Day, but Christmas. They want it to be Christmas, so it repeats. That's pretty much it. they start knowing what's going to happen, so they're just like jumping up and like immediately going to like the sleds they got for Christmas and like ignoring their uncle and trying to avoid their Aunt Gertie, who's like, "Where are my boys? Where are my kisses?"
Yep.
And Scrooge comes in. He's like, "Let's sing some carols." And Daisy's like, "I want to fuck Donald."
Yep. And they eat like dinner. It's always like a turkey dinner.
And then, like, as it, like, starts going by, like, probably over 100 calendar pages pass, and I'm like, the only good part about this is knowing that these kids are trapped in a loop for, like, over 100 days.
Yeah.
Like, and they didn't go insane. They're very strong-willed.
There's that one scene where one of them almost does, but they shake him out of it really quick.
They do.
And basically,
and they're like, "We gotta break the cycle." So then they start being dicks.
Yeah, they just like...
And I'm like, "You're breaking the cycle by being a bad person."
Yeah, they basically like have one night where they like have like the worst Christmas ever, where it's just...
They started off by... They have Chip and Dale just like living right next to them like a little tree house.
And they throw a fucking snowball at them.
No, they throw a water balloon, and then it freezes them over.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was fucked up.
And then, like, what the fuck? And then they go downstairs, and they, like, just immediately, like, just start wrecking everything, pretty much. They, like, prank everybody. Aunt Gertie comes in, they're wearing scuba gear, so she can't kiss them.
Yeah, they, like, put, like, a live turkey.
They replace the turkey with a live turkey, and then that like, causes chaos. The tree falls over on Donald, breaks the piano, and then Donald just looks, like, dead inside.
And then, like, they're going upstairs, and everyone's just like, why do we deserve this terrible Christmas?
And the door opens where the sleds were, because they were going to go again, and they finally read this note that Donald had written for them. And
it's basically
one of the biggest problems with this is that they didn't think to read this note once. And their entire idea, doesn't it get boring being a dick all the time? Like, they're just dicks for like 100 days straight.
Yeah.
And then they feel bad, and they feel bad because this letter's like, it's not about the things you get, but the people around you and the hearts they give. And I'm like, fuck off.
Generic. Anyway. So yeah, they're like, yeah, tomorrow morning we're gonna have a real good Christmas. And so they like, I think they use their sleds, but they built Donald a boat out of like the gift he had gotten them.
Yeah, like a sled boat.
And they also like make breakfast for him, because every morning they like fucking wreck the breakfast on him. And then they like go and they're eager for their kisses from their Aunt Gertie. They sing the Christmas carols with Scrooge. They're very polite and help with like cleaning dishes with Daisy. And they create like the best Christmas ever. And they wake up the next day and Donald's like taking the boat up to the top of the hill.
And they're like, we got out!
And then Donald slapstick, breaks the boat on his way down. Ha ha, real funny. Next bit is Max and Goofy.
You want to talk more about that first bit?
Is there really much to say? I mean, if you've got something more you want to say.
No, not really. There's some things that I really don't like that are like expectations put on by like kids' movies. Like, if you don't want to fucking kiss your aunt, don't kiss your aunt. Don't expect kids to just have to give you like physical affection, you asshole.
Yeah, no, that's like big attitude at the time. I feel like a modern kids movie probably wouldn't have that same kind of mentality, but yeah, it was definitely kind of like the mentality when I was growing up.
But
I remember when I was like really young, my mom used to like kiss me and I was like, stop, Jesus, I don't like this.
It's just like the whole bit is like they're just awful kids. They're awful to everyone. And then they do like one nice day. And I'm like, think about the loops that those people had to suffer through. They made these people suffer for 100 days.
Yeah.
It was just very annoying. And this one was also really, like, overly long. This whole movie, even though it was, like, 3 shorts and it was only, like, an hour long, it just felt so fucking long.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about the second one. I need to blow my nose again because I'm sick.
Alright, basically, it starts with this Indiana Jones sequence where Max and Goofy are trying to hurry and get their letter to Santa mailed before, like, the mailman goes away for the day. And then they're, like, setting up their Christmas lights, and they're, like, shoveling snow in front of their house, and then Pete knocks a bunch of snow back, and he basically tells Max, he's like, "Oh, Santa Claus isn't real." And Max is like, "What? He's not?" And then Goofy's like, "Well, of course he's real." And then basically Max is like a hardcore, like, realist the whole movie. And he's like, "No, Santa's not real." And he's trying, basically Goofy, like, spends this whole thing trying to, like, convince Max, like, yeah, he's real. And they, like, go over to, like, their neighbor's house where they have, like, some...
Who are, like, really poor.
Yeah, and Goofy, like, annually, like, dresses up as Santa Claus and comes down.
He, like, makes some food, and he's being really nice.
Gives them a bunch of toys and
Max
stuff.
is, like, telling the kid, he's like, "Santa's not real."
And then, of course, when Santa Claus shows up, he's, like, the first on his lap, and then classic, you know, Santa guy, like, disguise falls off and shatters the illusion, and Max gets really mad and says, "You lied to me!" And so he's like, "Oh, Santa's real, blah, 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 and, you know, he'll show up. Come on, Max, we'll stay up all night and we'll see him." And they, like, stay up and they build, like, this little fort on the roof. And, yeah, it's like 5 a.m. and it still hasn't happened, and Goofy starts to lose hope, and Max feels kind of bad, so he dresses up as Santa Claus and tries to, like, trick him. He's like, "Well, why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I was just trying to make you happy again, Dad." And he's like, "Oh, you make me plenty happy." And then right at that moment when they rejoice, Santa Claus shows up and does the whole ho, ho, ho. That's the end of that one. Pete gets nothing because he's a fucking naughty guy.
Max should have got nothing either, because Max was awful to Goofy.
Yeah, Max was awful 90% of this.
He was like, Goofy was really trying. Goofy is a strong single parent who always tries to do things right for his kid.
I mean, to be fair, Santa Claus isn't real, so, I mean...
Yeah, but he's real in this universe.
That's fair, I guess.
Like, if he wasn't... But even still, if you're, like... Because if he wasn't real, Goofy would just tell him that.
Yeah.
Like, parents aren't just going to be like, "Nope, he's real." And, like, even if the kid's adamant, "Nope, he's real." Unless he's really gaslighting him. Goofy the gaslighter.
Yeah.
So Max was just a dick to his dad who was trying really hard. And I was just like, stop.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to sum up this next one really fast because there's really nothing to it. Mickey and Minnie
are poor.
They want to get each other gifts. Mickey has golden harmonica. Minnie has golden watch. Mickey goes, "Wow, you know what would be good with that watch? A nice gold chain." And Minnie's like, "You know what would be good with that harmonica? A nice case." So they're both banking on, like, getting Christmas bonuses. They don't. So they have to trade their item to get each other the gift that they want. Like the accessories to, like, the items that they already have, but they have to trade them in to get the money for the gift. So they end up getting each other the accessories for the gifts that they traded away, and they're like, "It doesn't matter because I love you and it's the thought that counts." The end. This movie was shit.
I do have a couple things to say about this third.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I like to talk about the movies we watch, Thomas. I've been sitting on this one. Because I think the second part of this movie was the worst for me. But this one had some really stupid parts, too. Like, for instance, there's the big scene where he's playing the harmonica on the bench right before he goes, like, shopping. Mm-hmm. And then these firemen, like, drag him over to play, like, music. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I gotta go shopping. I'm poor. And they're like, no, you have to come play. Our band is putting out a fire. Pete's, because Pete had owned this Christmas tree farm that got burned down when he stole Mickey's money.
Yeah.
And Mickey's like, no, I gotta go. And they make him play. And I'm like, first of all, why the fuck are there 3 firemen here that aren't putting out this fire so that the band can be here? Who did this? What kind of nonsense is this? Why are you forcing a poor person to make money for you?
Yeah. And
that just made me really upset. And then also, like, the presents they give each other, like the case that Minnie gives him is like a little wooden case. It looks like it was like $5 while Mickey like actually got like a gold chain for Minnie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at least she could wear that as like a necklace.
Yeah. Yeah, I just find it funny.
Also, why would it, if you're that poor, why wouldn't you just like go together on like a gift you can use together or something?
Yeah. They didn't think of it.
I don't like Christmas.
I don't like Christmas either.
Bah humbug. I'm eating mac and cheese.
Yes, he is. So yeah, that leads us, let's just, that movie's shit. I give it 1.
Oh wow, I gave it a 3. I think that like...
I was not amused in the slightest with it. I was just like, this is...
I didn't really like it, but like, the first and third weren't like terrible, I guess. Like, they were bad, but they were both like, maybe like 4s for me.
I gave the little drummer boy a 2, so I'll give this a 2.
The second one I gave like a 1. So 4, 1. Yeah, I would give it a 3, I guess. So 2.5.
Okay. Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas.
Oh my god.
Is worse. Probably.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, how are you going to give that a 1 if this one came out? So this one's CG animated, made for TV, early 2000s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Some of the main characters don't look too bad, like frame by frame. In movement they do, but like the designs at least look okay.
Yeah.
But the problem you see is like, if you look at any background character, they just look awful.
I never bothered looking at any of the background.
Thomas is like, I closed my eyes.
It was bad. It was really bad.
So I'm usually, if I ever have to watch a sequel to an anthology film, I'm like, maybe if there's more, I'll like it more, because at least they'll be shorter. Like, that's how I felt about All Hallows Eve and All Hallows Eve 2. Because at least the second one, it had like 10 stories instead of 3. So they were much shorter. I'm like, ooh, at least the bad ones were over like in 4 minutes.
This one was like really inconsistent with its lengths, because some of them would be like the typical like 10 minutes, and like there's like the first one was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I can barely remember. It was bad, I remember. It was really gross looking. Yeah,
the first one, there's like an ice skating thing. And then they're like, all right, the person doing this performance is Minnie, and Daisy thinks it was going to be her. And she kind of like darts out on the ice real quick and is like embarrassed. And then she tries to like one up Minnie, and then they end up just having this big like ego-driven ice skate fight. And then Minnie ends up like getting hurt, and then like Daisy goes over and she's like, I'm sorry. And then Minnie's like, no, I'm sorry. And they make up, and they do this big happy finale where they make up.
I'm like, why is Minnie sorry? She didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. That one was bad. Then it's followed up with another Huey, Dewey, and Louie one. Yeah.
This one's worse than the...
Where basically, like, Scrooge tells them, he's like, oh, yeah, I never was on Santa's good list, so don't make the same mistake. Because they're being
dicks right at the beginning again.
Yeah.
They're just dicks. That's all. Like, Huey, Dewey, and Louie at least have, like, competent, like, character arcs on, like, the DuckTales show and stuff. Like, they're still dicks, but at least they do things that are nice occasionally. But in both these movies, they're just, like,
they're like dicks.
They have no redemption. They're just assholes.
Yeah, it's like they're hitting the gas on the dick meter, and then like they just like let off at the very last second, and then it's like, oh, we're redeemed because we let off the gas. I was like, no.
So they've been like assholes all year long, pretty much. And Scrooge is like, you're probably going to be on the naughty list, and they're like freaking out.
They're like, what?
So they decide to go to the North Pole and add their names to the nice list by themselves.
And then they fuck up the entire place.
Yeah, so they get there, they disguise themselves as elves, they like literally make all the presents fall out of the bags, and like
they like
it's
literally like
everywhere.
throw half of them out of the bags. They're looking for a key that they stole from Santa because they want to get into the list room, and then they feel bad. They help everybody clean up, and suddenly, with the addition of 3 baby ducks, they're able to save Christmas on time when they wouldn't have been able to without their help. Makes sense.
And I'm like, most of the mess didn't really have to do with like putting the presents away. Like a lot of this stuff they could have just dealt with after Christmas. Like they could have just put the presents back, which would have taken like, I don't know, the ducks did it in like 2 seconds, so.
Yeah, I don't know. But, then
they sneak into the record room.
Yep.
And they write a name, and you're like, oh, whose name? And they wrote Donald's name, because they want him to get the present.
They wrote Scrooge's name.
Oh, they wrote Scrooge's name, because Scrooge, yeah.
Yeah, and he gets some bagpipes, and then Donald discovers like a big pile of... Because you go down, and there's only like one present under the tree, and you think, oh, it's just Scrooge's. And then Donald like goes around the back of the tree and he's like, there's more presents back here. And then they get like earplugs, and Donald gets a book on like better manners.
I'm like, fuck you, Donald's trying.
Yeah.
Donald's not a dickhead like these kids.
He's got a short temper, but he has to raise these 3 assholes.
What do you mean? You're giving him a thing on manners, but you're giving them actual presents?
Yeah, fucking Santa, dude.
What's with all Santa just being an idiot in all the movies we watched, except like Santa Claus is coming to town?
Yeah.
In his old age, he became like deluded.
I guess.
This one, like, still terrible animation, really, really gross, but also like it just doesn't They're bad for 364 days of the year, and they're bad for the 365th, but right at the end, they take 3 minutes to clean up some presents, so they're good.
See,
and because they put Scrooge's name?
Yeah, that was my line of logic, is that they had the chance to do the really naughty thing where they broke in and were going to write their names, but they instead made the decision to do a selfless act and write their uncle's name instead, who is, by the way, a fucking billionaire and can buy his own goddamn bagpipes.
Literally, he's like, I always wanted bagpipes. I'm like, you're literally standing in a mansion
you
right now.
You swim in gold coins.
What do you mean you wanted bagpipes? You could get bagpipes made of diamonds.
You fucking rich quack. But, what's the... Is the
third one the music video?
It might be. I don't remember.
So,
I watched it yesterday, and I don't remember. What is Goofy's one in this one? Because I imagine Goofy had... Oh, yeah, Max is like college age, and this one he's bringing a girl home, and it's literally just rehash of the Goofy movie. Because I don't want my dad to embarrass me in front of this girl.
Yeah, and so Max Goofy's celebrating Christmas with his father, and he brings home Mona, and he's like saying, "Dad, you can't be weird." And then a song starts playing. Where he's like, my dad's too goofy, he's a big goofy, that's a big goofy, goofy. Except this is a better song than that one.
It really is.
And then he's like, wait, no, it's good that my dad's embarrassing, because then it makes me look good. And it's just like this weird mean-spirited thing. Either way, at first it was like, I'm too embarrassed of my dad. And then it's like, my dad's embarrassing, so it makes me look better. And I'm like, what the cunt?
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah,
This was my favorite one because it was like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not very long. You know what's a good movie? The Goofy movie.
Yeah.
You know what wasn't a good movie?
This?
Yeah.
Do you like an extremely goofy movie?
I haven't
I remember liking it. It's been a while.
I've watched it like since. I didn't grow up watching that one, so I don't.
I
have,
didn't
like,
watch
the
either
same,
growing up. So
I watched the first Goofy movie a lot growing up. All my friends have like this super nostalgic attachment to an extremely Goofy movie though that I don't have. So it's it's okay. I like the first one better.
Me too.
But yeah, and then there's one with Donald Duck. I remember that because I'm like, oh, the ducks get two.
Yeah, Donald. He hates Christmas and he wants some peace and quiet. Fair enough. And he like wishes that, and then he like runs and misses it.
He's constantly just hearing.
He's hearing "We wish you a Merry Christmas" from like everyone, including like doors and bells. Everything.
Yeah, he ends up in this room in the mall,
and then he doesn't want to go out, but Daisy makes him leave, and he's like, "I don't want to." She's like, "No, you have to." I'm like, "Why are you being a dick? Let Donald stay home."
Yeah. And so they go to the mall. He continues to hear the music everywhere, and he ends up like trying to just get some peace and quiet in this one little room. So he goes, and it's a closed room, and then suddenly a bunch of animatronics light up and go, "We wish you a Merry Christmas!"
And he's like, "I'm going insane!"
So he just fucking destroys everything in there, and they do like that bit where like they open the curtains from the outside, and you see Donald. He's like smashing, and they're like, fuck this guy," and everyone's angry with him. So he just kind of like walks off, and he's like walking past this choir in town, and they're like singing the song, and they're like arguing about like their parts. And he's like, "Whoa,
let me help!"
And he's like, "I know this song inside and out. Let me lead you guys." And then he like composes a great performance, and then everyone like gathers around and listens to it, including Daisy and the fucking Huey, Dewey, Louie twins, triplets. And then they're all like, "Well, all is forgiven. Because you found the spirit of Christmas, I guess, and you totally didn't destroy those mall animatronics a little while ago." And yeah, that's the end of that one. And then that was it, right? And then it just has like that. Oh wait, Mickey. Oh, the Pluto one.
Yeah,
the longest one. Then I forgot about it, or at least it felt like the longest one.
Holy shit.
Okay,
so Mickey is like obsessed with Christmas. He made a really big Christmas thing. Pluto accidentally wrecks it. And then Mickey's like, "Get out and stay out."
No, he's like, "Get out and stay out." Because, Mickey's voice.
Yeah, I guess.
And then
Pluto's like, "I'm running away."
And then Mickey comes home and he's like, my dog is gone.
And Pluto had accidentally been like shipped to the North Pole.
He got on a train?
Something like that.
Yeah, so something. Gets to the North Pole, some reindeer adopt him and name him Murray, and then Pluto's all depressed, and Mickey's looking for him in town, and he ends up like going to the mall Santa, who turns out to really be Santa. So I guess Santa in the Disney canon goes to every single mall and does that.
It can tie well together with your Santa Claus conquers the Martians.
Yeah, there we go. And basically he gives them the lost dog picture, and they take a picture, and then like Santa goes home to the North Pole and says, "Oh, that's Pluto, and he's sad because he likes Mickey, and not you." I don't know. So they take him home, and he's reunited with Mickey, and then there's been this like snowplow that keeps like fucking with Mickey while he's looking for Pluto. Turns out it was Goofy driving it. And then everyone from like the main party, like Daisy, Donald, the rest of them, like Minnie, they're all in the snowplow with Goofy, and they get out and they're like, "Yeah, have you found Pluto?" And Mickey's like, "I got Pluto right here," and they sing a Christmas song or something, and the movie ends. One. This is a 1. Don't watch it. It's twice upon a Christmas, and it's twice more the shit.
Spice Beam is my least favorite movie we watched.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that necessarily. It's just that I was very unamused with it. And I can't believe I picked these two movies. I was just trying to pick something really fast, and I was like, Disney Plus has got them both? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so, we watched a lot of bad movies this week. We watched one good movie out of 8. Which is, not a very good, record there.
Have you already started watching what I...
No, but
I'm going to revoke it.
No!
Ah!
I mean, you can if you have something else
I
planned.
was going to pick Krampus.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright. Yeah, because I want to enjoy...
Thomas originally wanted to watch the Santa Claus trilogy with Tim Allen.
I wanted to cash in on the Tim Allen meme of our channel, but I'll save it for another time.
Save it for next Christmas.
Save it for next Christmas.
I'm glad, because I don't like those movies. I think the second one's okay, but mostly because it's bad.
Yeah.
Funny bad.
I really don't want to, like, spend the next few days trying to fit in a fucking, like... Because if you're picking...
I'm picking 2.
If you're picking 2, I didn't want to watch 3 on top of that, all while trying to just binge as much Star Trek The Next Generation as I can. So I'm just gonna revoke my trilogy and put the Krampus in. So that's my choice. It's modern, contemporary, the Krampus.
Krampus by Michael Dougherty. Dougherty.
Michael Dougherty, yeah. Dougherty, whatever.
And I'm picking 2 movies. The first being It's a Wonderful Life by Frank Capra. 1946, considered by a lot to be the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Oh, we'll see. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll like a Christmas movie. And I am picking Miracle on 34th Street from 1947 by a man named George Seaton. Let's see where you can watch it. Miracle on 34th Street was a Fox movie, so it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, nice.
And It's a Wonderful Life is available on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
Anyway, guys, don't watch almost any of the movies we watched this week, unless you would like to suffer. Suffer as we have suffered.
Yes. Yeah, Merry Shitsmas.
It's funny because it kind of rings with Christmas.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Adios.
Tell your grandma.